Chapter 1498. She couldn't see how the old man had done it. A second later, Mu Yu's body flew out like a broken kite, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. What a pity. What a pity. The old man walked over to Mu Yu and sighed. Do you have any last words? You be ****. Mu Yu glared at the old man. All right, I'll accept it. I'll send you on your way, said the old man. Mu Yu gritted her teeth. She was still looking for an opportunity, but the disparity in power between her and the old man was too great. She couldn't find one. Was it really going to end? She couldn't accept this. She still had many things to do. She wanted to take revenge on Mu Yan and the Mu family. Perhaps she just wanted to ask her father why he had treated her like that. Wasn't she their family? She had once cared about them so much. All the new perfect test subjects are in the laboratory. You know where they are. The key is. Mu Yan, this is the last thing I can do for you. Use them to fight against the sacred ground and protect yourself. I haven't forgiven you. If you die, you will die in my hands, not in the hands of the sacred ground. Since I don't have this chance, I won't fulfill the sacred ground's wish. The corners of Mu Yu's mouth curled up. She planned to use her mental strength to transmit all the information she had. That was all she could do. Mu Yu did not dodge when she saw the old man's deadly palm strike. She had to tell Mu Yan all the information about the perfect bodies in the laboratory at the last moment. Boom! Suddenly, a loud explosion sounded, and a cloud of dust surged out of Mu Yu's body. Mu Yu looked at the scene in front of her in disbelief. Two indifferent children stood in front of her, and the protector of the Holy Land was actually trampled into the ground by the two of them. Are you all right, Auntie? Pei Li asked coldly. Hey. Are you all right? Auntie, you tricked me, Pei Qian replied. You guys, Pei Qian. Pei Li. Mu Yu stared at the two kids in disbelief. I wanted to teach her a lesson, but I didn't expect to have to save her. How infuriating, Pei Li said coldly. Infuriating. Really infuriating. Pei Qian snorted. How did you? Mu Yu was shocked. Forget it. You're my sister after all. I can't just watch you die in the hands of others, Pei Li said. Pei Qian said, I can't watch you die in the hands of others. As soon as he finished speaking, the ground suddenly trembled. The old man burst out of the ground and sent Pei Qian and Pei Li, who were standing on his head, flying. The old man looked at Pei Qian and Pei Li and frowned. You really don't know how to respect your elders. You actually dare to stand on my head. Children nowadays. Sigh. Die, old thing. Pei Qian shouted as he threw a few punches at the protector of the Holy Land. The old man only dodged but did not retaliate. As he dodged, he said, Not bad. You have already evolved so much at such a young age. Are you interested in joining the Holy Land? The heavy responsibility of maintaining world peace will be yours in the future. Old thing, you're coaxing a child, and you're still trying to maintain world peace? You've watched too many cartoons. Pei Qian scolded. Forget it, I won't force you. Don't cause trouble and quickly leave. Otherwise, I will retaliate. The elder said. Good night, the update is over, smooches, end of chapter. Chapter 1499. Don't you people from the sacred grounds have any shame? You want to fight back? You even want to hit a child? Pei Qian immediately stopped. Pei Qian, come back. Pei Li looked at Pei Qian. Pei Qian immediately retreated to Pei Li's side. It was Pei Li's first time meeting an opponent of this level. It would be difficult for him to win. But no matter what, he had to try. Let's work together, Pei Li said. Together. Pei Qian nodded. Listen to my command, go. After saying that, Pei Li turned into a shadow and instantly rushed forward. Listen to my command. Pei Qian snorted. Auntie, you better run first. Pei Qian did not forget to say to Muyu. Wishful thinking. The old man stopped dodging and chose to fight back. In an instant, his palm blasted out and shattered Pei Li's left shoulder. However, what surprised the old man was that Pei Li's shattered right shoulder was recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Other than his clothes, all his flesh and bones looked brand new. This is... The old man frowned and stared at Pei Li. Could it be that you're the leader of the undying indestructible tribe? You have the magical power of the undying indestructible tribe. Pei Li did not speak and immediately counterattacked. No matter what the old man did, even if he smashed Pei Li into pieces, Pei Li would return to his original state in the next second. He had heard of the undying indestructible tribe before and knew that their leader had the power of the undying indestructible tribe. However, that was just hearsay and he did not care about such rumors. Now that he had seen it for himself, he could not help but be shocked that such an ability really existed in this world. No matter how heavy his injuries were, he could recover immediately. The old man had never fought with such a power before and did not know how to deal with it. He's the undying indestructible tribe. Are you the same? Soon, the old man's gaze landed on Pei Qian. Pei Qian was slightly stunned when he heard this, and then he said, "Why don't you guess?" The old man did not continue to fight with Pei Li and turned to attack Pei Qian. However, the two brothers worked very well together. Pei Li, who had the undying indestructible tribe, was used as a shield by Pei Qian. Every time, Pei Li would be in front of him, and the old man could not do anything to him. Be careful. Mu Yu saw that Pei Qian was on the brink of death every time, and could not help but shout out. The strength of the two children had completely exceeded Mu Yu's expectations, especially the eldest, Pei Li, who had an immortal body and was basically impossible to kill. Even the protectors of the Holy Land could not do anything to Pei Li in a short period of time, otherwise, they would not have shifted their attention to Pei Qian. Quick, boss, help me block his fists. Pei Qian jumped in fright when he saw the protector's extremely powerful killing move. He was not like Pei Li, who had an undying body. If his head was struck off, he would really be screwed. In the next second, Pei Li's speed was like that of a ghost. He was extremely fast and instantly blocked Pei Qian's side. With a loud bang, Pei Li's upper body was blasted into pieces by the protector of the Holy Land, but then, at a speed visible to the naked eye, Pei Li recovered to his original state. The protector of the Holy Land frowned and did not know what to say. He had never seen such a shameless way of fighting. This child had an immortal body and could not be killed no matter how much he hit him. He could only give up and target the other child, but he stuck to him like a dog's skin plaster. Soon, the protector smiled and said, "Looks like physical damage is useless against you. Then, how about mental damage?" End of chapter. Chapter 1500. Pei Qian's expression changed when he heard the protector's words. Although Pei Li's body was indestructible and immune to physical attacks, an extremely powerful mental attack could still cause some damage to Pei Li. Although mental attacks couldn't kill Pei Li, the pain was real. At this moment, Pei Qian was thinking of countermeasures as if he was facing a formidable enemy. However, the protector sighed and said helplessly, "But I don't know how to use mental attacks." Pei Qian's mouth twitched when he heard the protector's words. Was this old man joking around? Why did he say that he didn't know how to use mental attacks? That's a pity. Since that's the case, no matter how strong you are, you won't be able to defeat me, Pei Li said emotionlessly as he looked at the protector. Indeed, the protector of the Holy Land did not refute him. This child was not lying. He had an absolutely immortal body and was 100% immune to physical damage. Even if the strongest evolver in the world was here, they would not be able to do anything to this child. With his immortal body, he would be able to exhaust him to death. "Sigh, I really don't know what to do with you." The protector sighed and attacked Pei Li with his palm. Pei Li didn't dodge. Instead, he attacked the protector with a similarly terrifying palm attack. An explosive sound reverberated in the surroundings. When his palm collided with the protector's, Paley suddenly frowned. This palm attack didn't have any substantial feedback. The old man's palm was soft. When Paley came back to his senses, his body was tied up. There was a pile of mud-like things on his body. Even though Paley used all his strength, he couldn't free himself. What is this? Paley's eyes were filled with astonishment. The protector smiled at Paley. Just a little trick. It's specially used to deal with evolvers with strange abilities. How is it? You can't move, right? Although it can only last for a few minutes, it's enough. Let me deal with them first, then I'll deal with you. Not good. Although Paley's crazy attack was effective, it was just as the protector had said. He would probably need a few minutes to free himself. Why did you drop the ball at such a crucial moment? Pei Qian couldn't help but complain to Paley, I'm so pitiful. Paley couldn't be bothered with Pei Qian. He had to destroy the thing pressing down on him as soon as possible. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Little guy, you don't have a shield anymore. What are you going to do now? The protector of the Holy Land looked at Pei Qian and chuckled, how about this? You should leave now. We don't have any enmity, so I won't hold this against you. Leave quickly. You shameless old man, first you wanted to kill my mother, then you wanted to kill my aunt, and you still say that there is no enmity between us? Moreover, you are underestimating me too much. Although I don't have an immortal body, I also have my strong points. You are the first to experience it. Even if you are killed by me, you will be extremely honored. Pei Qian sneered. Hearing that, the protector sighed helplessly. He looked at Pei Qian and said, I really don't see how capable you are. At the very least, you're not on the same level as that child. The child that the protector was referring to was naturally Paley. Are you blind? I'm much stronger than him. Pei Qian was indignant. End of this chapter. Chapter 1501. Open your eyes wide and see how terrifying I am. Pei Qian snorted coldly, and the air around him suddenly compressed. The protector was confused and had no idea what Pei Qian was doing. Air cannon. The air that Pei Qian had gathered around him had a qualitative change. In the next second, it was blasted out from his palm. The old man, who had never seen such an attack, was caught off guard and was hit by Pei Qian's air cannon. His left shoulder was penetrated, and fresh blood flowed out. Seeing that his attack had succeeded, Pei Qian raised his eyebrows at the trapped Paley as if he was showing off. However, Paley couldn't be bothered with him as he was trying his best to break free. What a powerful technique. I've never seen this before. Air cannon. There's actually a name for it? You're indeed a kid. The protector looked at his pierced left shoulder in shock. He could actually use the air to attack. This kid wasn't simple. However, although this move of yours is powerful, you only have one chance. Now that I'm prepared, you won't succeed. If you had penetrated my head just now, you would have won, the protector of the sacred land said to Pei Qian. I have many techniques. Take your time to learn from me. Pei Qian sneered. Illusion. Air cannon. In the next second, air cannons were shot out from all directions. The angles were very tricky, and there were too many of them. Seeing this, the protector frowned. Although he understood the principle, he didn't know how to deal with it. There was only one air cannon, but Pei Qian used his mental strength to create illusions to disrupt the protector. Hence, in the protector's eyes, there were countless air cannons coming at him, and he couldn't avoid them. The time was too short. Even if he wanted to dispel Pei Qian's illusion, he wouldn't be able to do so. In an instant, the protector was hit by the air cannon again. This time, it's not just piercing through. Pei Qian shouted, and lightning flashed in his eyes. Swoosh! The surrounding magnetic field seemed to change instantly, and two terrifying lightning bolts shot out from Pei Qian's eyes. The moment the lightning dispelled the air cannon, a violent explosion occurred, and the protector was instantly engulfed. Seeing this, Pei Qian immediately ran to Mu Yu. Quick, quick, quick. Let's escape. We can't win. With that, Pei Qian grabbed Mu Yu and was about to slip away. Save Pei Li first. Mu Yu said with a pale face. Don't worry, he's immortal. There's no need to save him. That protector can't do anything to him, Pei Qian said hurriedly. However, before Pei Qian could escape with Mu Yu, the protector appeared in front of them and blocked their way. Not bad. You have such combat power at such a young age. Your future is bright. The protector of the Holy Land said. He must be a monster. Pei Qian's face was filled with astonishment. Under such a powerful attack, the protector of the sacred land was actually unscathed. It's time for me to beat you up, the protector of the sacred land said as he sent a punch containing destructive energy towards Pei Qian. Upon seeing this, Pei Qian was quite frightened. Previously, Pei Li had been smashed into smithereens by the envoys of the Holy Land many times. The might of this punch was too terrifying. If he was hit by it, he would definitely die. He was not a monster like Pei Li, who had an indestructible body. If he was hit, he would really die. Be careful. Mu Yu wanted to push Pei Qian away, but the protector's speed was too fast, and she couldn't do it. End of chapter. Chapter 1502. Don't underestimate me. Pei Qian was furious as he took a deep breath under Mu Yu's astonished gaze. In the blink of an eye, Pei Qian's body expanded rapidly like a balloon floating in the air. The Guardian hadn't expected Pei Qian's transformation. When the Guardian punched Pei Qian didn't react at all. On the other hand, the Guardian was sent flying. I told you. Don't underestimate me. Pei Qian, who was like a balloon, glanced at the Guardian with a smug expression. Mu Yu didn't know what to say as she stared at Pei Qian, who was floating in the air like a balloon. What kind of strange ability was this? Even she had never seen it before, God of Thunder. A second later, Pei Qian, who had turned into a balloon, was surrounded by lightning. He looked like a huge ball as he rolled toward the Guardian. These two kids are really interesting. The protector of the Holy Land had a strange look on his face. It was the first time he had seen such a strange evolver's ability. It seemed to be different from other evolvers. This was the fourth evolved being with a strange ability that the Guardian had seen in his life. The second was Pei Yucheng, the sacred leader's favorite disciple. His illusions could transform and he could turn illusions into reality. The third was the child with an indestructible body who couldn't be killed. The fourth was the child in front of him, who had all sorts of strange evolved abilities that he had never heard of before. He even had a name, however, a child was a child after all. He liked to give his abilities cool names. The Guardian had no choice but to face the huge ball head-on. His fist landed on the ball. Ouch! It hurts. Pei Qian wailed in pain. On the other hand, the Guardian's right fist was charred black because of the terrifying lightning around the ball, and his body was sent flying again. It hurts. Pei Qian continued to scream. Although this ability could minimize physical damage, Pei Li wouldn't feel pain or die. However, he would. Pei Li was completely immune to it, while he was only partially immune. The Guardian didn't attack rashly. This child was like a porcupine that couldn't be touched. The more he used strength, the harder the rebound would be. Unless it was a mental power attack, but he did not have any mental power evolution. Not good, I can't hold on any longer. Pei Qian thought to himself. Soon, Pei Qian was like a deflated balloon, returning to normal. The protector stared at Pei Qian with a faint smile. Looks like there's a time limit. Pei Qian pursed his lips. What time limit? That's a move that I've just come up with. I haven't familiarized myself with it yet. If you have the ability, let us go first. Once I'm done with it, we'll fight it out. I've already said that this matter has nothing to do with you guys. You guys can leave any time you want as long as you don't hinder me. The protector laughed. Without giving Pei Qian a chance to speak, the protector of the sacred land instantly appeared beside Pei Qian and used the same method he used on Pei Li to imprison Pei Qian. Old thing, let go of me. I haven't used my moves yet. Pei Qian shouted. The protector glanced at Pei Qian. He didn't want to kill these two kids, so he let them stay here obediently. Without Pei Qian and Pei Li causing trouble, the protector walked towards Mu Yu step by step. Good night. End of update. End of chapter. Chapter 1503. Senior sister, it's here. The white crane sniffed as it led Lin Yan and the others cautiously. Lin Yan glanced ahead and saw Pei Qian and Pei Li, who were tied up. Mu Yu was also there. Guardian. Guardian, the white crane turned pale when it saw the old man. It turned to Lin Yan in shock. Senior sister. That old man is one of the two guardians of the sacred ground. Lin Yan finally understood what the white crane was trying to say. The protector of the Holy Land must have mistaken Mu Yu for him. However, what was going on with the two kids? Could it be that Mu Yu kidnapped the two children, and was discovered by the protector of the Holy Land, and the protector mistook her for me, thus implicating the two children? Sister. Sister Yen. What should we do? Xing Chen's face turned pale when he sensed the evolution power of the protector of the Holy Land. His body trembled. This level of evolution was not something he could understand. It was completely beyond the scope of his understanding. Such a person couldn't be defeated. Lin Yan remained silent. She could only wait and see. Just then, the protector walked to Mu Yu's side. Mu Yu instinctively wanted to escape, but she was restrained by an unparalleled force. All right, this farce is almost over. I'll send you away. There won't be any pain. The guardian chuckled softly at Mu Yu. The guardian didn't give Mu Yu a chance to react. He used his palm as a blade and slashed at Mu Yu. Mu Yu was severely injured, so she couldn't dodge. She could only let herself be trampled on. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, a figure quickly flashed over, and in the blink of an eye, he used his shoulder strength to send Mu Yu flying. The guardian's palm didn't land on Mu Yu. Instead, it landed on Lin Yan's waist. Sister Yen. Xing Chen and the others turned pale with fright. Senior sister. The white crane was rooted to the ground as well. It hadn't expected that Lin Yan would rush out to block the attack. What's going on? The guardian frowned. He had only wanted to kill Mu Yu. He had no intention of taking anyone else's life. What was wrong with this woman? Mu Yu fell to the ground and stared at Lin Yan in shock. She was panting heavily and bent over, as though she couldn't stand straight. Mu Yu's eyes were filled with astonishment. She could not understand why Mu Yan would do this. Was it for her? In her world, she should be the one to bear the pain. Mom. Pei Qian and Pei Li turned pale when they saw that Lin Yan had been hit instead of Mu Yu. However, they couldn't break free. Who are you? Fortunately, I held back at the last moment. Otherwise, you would have been dead. This has nothing to do with you. I won't take your lives. Go away and don't get in my way. The protector glanced at Lin Yan's back. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched as she clutched at her chest. The old man had said that he had already restrained his strength. However, she still felt as though all the bones in her body were about to shatter. If he hadn't retracted his strength, wouldn't he have been torn to pieces? What kind of monsters are these people from the Holy Lands? I'm the one you're looking for. Don't hurt anyone else. Lin Yan wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and turned around to face the guardian. You. The guardian instinctively sized up Mu Yu when he saw her face. Chapter 1504. Immediately after, the protector of the Holy Land smiled in understanding. Very good, very good. Both sisters are here. Looks like there's no need to be so troublesome. Lin Yen stared at the guardian with a frown. I don't care which one of you is Mu Yen or Mu Yu. You will both die here today, said the guardian. She had already made a mistake last time, so she couldn't let them go even if she killed them by mistake this time. Who asked you to come? Why do you have to be a busybody? Mu Yu bellowed at Lin Yen. Lin Yen rolled her eyes. Don't flatter yourself. I'm just here to look for my child. It has nothing to do with you. Mu Yu gritted her teeth. She had come to look for her child. But why had she blocked that fatal blow for her? Lin Yen, who seemed to sense Mu Yu's doubt, replied expressionlessly, she slipped. Don't hurt my senior sister. The white crane scurried over and stood in front of Lin Yen. The guardian's expression changed when he saw the white crane. White crane, do you know what you're doing? The guardian frowned at the white crane. Of course I know what I'm doing. No matter what, I won't let you hurt senior sister. The white crane looked resolute. The protector of the sacred land fell into silence. I'm afraid you can't do that. The guardian shook his head. Senior sister, leave now. I'll hold him back. The white crane told Lin Yen. However, Lin Yen didn't move. Putting aside the question of whether she could escape with Mu Yu and the two children, even if she could, she would not leave the white crane behind to block the protector of the Holy Land. Pei Qian looked at Pei Li anxiously. If Pei Li wanted to break free, he would need some time. However, even if he and Pei Li escaped, they wouldn't be a match for the Guardian. The Guardian of the Sacred Ground is doing something in the territory of the Hunters Guild, yet you didn't inform us. That doesn't seem to be in line with the rules. The man, who was dressed simply, strode out of the darkness. The protector of the Holy Land could not help but look at the man who had suddenly appeared. Who are you? The protector of the Holy Land narrowed his eyes and asked the man. President of the Hunters Guild, Lin Nua, replied the man. The Hunters Guild. The Holy Land protector smiled. Oh, it's President Lin. Sorry for the lack of manners. Lin Nua, Lin Yan's eyes reddened as she stared at the young man. The man was wearing a simple, retro blue-gray suit, black military boots, and a silver wrist guard. He had a cold temperament and a tall figure. Although he had a handsome and unfamiliar face, one could still vaguely see the eyebrows and outline of his childhood. Especially the small black mole at the corner of his eye, it was exactly the same as she remembered. Lin Nua had been very close to her since she was born. Since she was young, she had been following her around like a shadow. Later on, when she was abducted into the laboratory, such a small and soft little dumpling, she was obviously so afraid, but she stubbornly wanted to protect her. She stood in front of her like a little lion and even fought with Bai for her. When the man's eyes shifted from the Guardian to Lin Yen, his cold and dangerous gaze melted like a glacier under the sun. It turned into warmth. Sister, when Lin Nua's hoarse voice called out to her in a familiar tone, Lin Yan's tears rolled down her cheeks. All the familiar memories surged in her mind. Xiaonua, Lin Yan dashed over and hugged Lin Nua tightly, as though she was afraid that everything before her was just an illusion. She was afraid that the person she had finally found after so many years was just a dream and another disappointment. The little girl from back then was now a head taller than Lin Yan. She reached out and gently pulled the girl into her arms. Lin Yan, who was crying in a mess, raised her head and pinched her face. Then, she raised her hand and pinched Lin Nua's face. Xiaonua, is that really you? Am I dreaming? Lin Yan used a lot of strength to verify whether it was a dream or not. Lin Nua didn't know whether she should laugh or cry. She bent down to make it easier for her to pinch her face. Her eyes were filled with guilt as she said, "It's me, sister. I'm sorry. I should have looked for you earlier, la la la, little brother is back." End of this chapter. Chapter 1505. Lin Yen studied Lin Nua. Although she was alive and well, she didn't feel real. She had been looking for her brother for so many years, yet he had appeared before her. When Xing Chen and the others saw this scene, their faces were filled with shock. The legendary and mysterious president of the Hunters Guild was actually Lin Yan's brother. And he was still standing there obediently to pinch Lin Yan's face? Xing Chen glanced at the guardian, who seemed to be losing his patience. He couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, Lin Nua had appeared in time. However, he was afraid that it wouldn't be that easy to send this old man away. Ha. The messenger chuckled softly and glanced at Lin Nua. President Lin, the Sacred Land and the Hunters Guild have always had the same philosophy and a good relationship. It was indeed presumptuous of us not to inform you this time, but the situation is urgent. I believe that President Lin can understand. Lin Nua patted Lin Yan's hand gently and gave her a reassuring look. Then, he turned to the Guardian and said, "Guardian, the evolved beings here have always been under the jurisdiction of the Hunters Guild. There has never been any mistake. Now that the Sacred Land has interfered, isn't it a little impolite?" The protector of the Sacred Land was speechless. Just as Lin Nua had said, the evolved beings here were indeed under the management of the Hunters Guild. Logically speaking, the Sacred Land shouldn't interfere. The Hunters Guild was different from other evolved beings. Its scale far exceeded that of the Sacred Land, and it was responsible for capturing evolved beings who violated the rules. All these years, the Sacred Land had rarely appeared. The balance of the outside world had been maintained by the Hunters Guild, which had saved the Sacred Land a lot of trouble. Under normal circumstances, the Sacred Land wouldn't randomly capture evolved beings under the jurisdiction of the Hunters Guild. However, the situation was different this time. Guardian, the Hunters Guild and the Sacred Land have reached an agreement all these years. However, you came here without informing the Hunters Guild and even captured evolved beings under the jurisdiction of the Hunters Guild. Don't you need to give the Hunters Guild an explanation? Asked Lin Nua. Xing Chen and the others heaved a sigh of relief. He understood the conversation between Lin Nua and the Guardian. The relationship between the Sacred Land and the Hunters Guild was like that of an ally. They were equivalent to two official factions. The Holy Land was responsible for maintaining the balance between the evolved world and the ordinary world, while the Hunters Guild was responsible for watching over and capturing evolved humans who broke the rules. The two forces must have had some kind of agreement. The Holy Land could not interfere with the Hunters Guild's jurisdiction, and it was the same for the Hunters Guild. However, this time, the Holy Land had entered without informing the Hunters Guild and was even capturing evolved humans. This was equivalent to slapping the Hunters Guild in the face. Of course, in terms of strength, the Hunters Guild naturally could not compare to the Holy Land. However, in terms of scale, the Hunters Guild was undoubtedly the #1 official force. One might not be able to see the forces of the Holy Land in any country or region in the world, but one would definitely be able to see the Hunters Guild. It could be said that they were everywhere. President Lin, there's no need to be so angry. I think you've misunderstood. The Holy Land Protector smiled and said, the Holy Land is here mainly because a disciple made a mistake, so it has nothing to do with the Hunters Guild. End of chapter. Chapter 1506. Hearing this, Xing Chen and the others were surprised and secretly cursed this protector for being shameless. According to what he said, it wouldn't be appropriate for the Hunters Guild to interfere. This was the Holy Land's family matter. Even if the Holy Land and the Hunters Guild had an agreement, the Hunters Guild couldn't interfere with the Holy Land's family matters. This was also a rule. As expected, after the Holy Land Protector finished speaking, Lin Nua became silent. Lin Yan had indeed been a disciple of the Sacred Land. There was no way to refute that. As long as they didn't fall out, he could protect Mu Yu, but he couldn't save Lin Yan. Who's the disciple of the Holy Land? It's you? Lin Yan glanced at Mu Yu in confusion. Mu Yu sneered, since when am I a disciple of the Saint Land? Lin Yan nodded and glanced at the white crane. Is that you? Huh. Bai He was confused. Then am I, or am I not? There are no disciples here. Are you sure? Lin Yan glanced at the guardian. Mu Yan, you don't have to do that. You are a disciple of the Holy Land, the protector of the Holy Land said. I'm a disciple of the sacred land? Lin Yan was astonished. You said that Mu Yan is a disciple of the sacred land. What does that have to do with me? That's right. There are no Holy Land disciples here. What right do you have to come to the Hunters Guild's territory to capture evolved people? Xing Chen mustered up his courage and said. Guardian, she is my sister, Lin Yan. She has nothing to do with the Mu Yan you mentioned, replied Lin Nuo. The Holy Land Protector sighed helplessly and said, President Lin, you're the president of the Hunters Guild after all. Why are you spouting nonsense like them? If that's the case, then there's no point. It's indeed boring, Lin Nuo said. I've already said it. In order to show my respect to the Hunters Guild, I will only take Mu Yan with me today. If President Lin insists on interfering with the matters of the Holy Lands, then don't blame me for not following the rules. I will take both of these sisters with me. Lin Nuo said coldly, you won't be able to take any of them away. Sigh. The protector of the Holy Land sighed, all right, I understand President Lin's stance. As for whether or not I can take him away, I'll let my strength speak for itself. The protector of the sacred ground moved like a ghost and appeared beside Lin Yan and Mu Yu. He reached out to grab them. His goal was not to clash with the Hunters Guild. There was no need to complicate matters. He only needed to take Mu Yan and Mu Yu away. Lin Nuo didn't waste any time. He dashed to Lin Yan's side, and an immense evolutionary aura surged from Lin Nuo's body. It was as though an ancient beast had awakened and attacked the guardian of the sacred ground. In the blink of an eye, Lin Nuo and the Holy Land's protector were locked in battle. A fight between immortals. Xing Chen raised his head and looked around. The speed of the Holy Land Protector and Lin Nuo was simply too fast. Xing Chen and the rest could no longer see them clearly with the naked eye. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud explosion. Pei Li was the first to break free. A small gift. Lin Yan had wanted to ask Pei Li to pull her over, but Pei Li had rushed into the fray. Mom, are you alright? Damn it, how dare you hurt my mom? Watch how I kill you. Before Lin Yan could snap out of her daze, Pei Qian regained his freedom and charged into the battlefield with Pei Li. Lin Yan stared at Pei Qian and Pei Li in shock. Was this a human? You can use me as a shield. He can't do anything to me, Pei Li said to Lin Nuo. Lin Nuo was speechless. I don't think that's a good idea. Lin Nuo felt a little awkward. No matter what, he couldn't use a child as a shield. Besides, this was his sister's child, his nephew. End of this chapter. Chapter 1507. These two children are also evolved beings? Lin Yan was shocked. Sister Yan, this. Xing Chen glanced at Lin Yan, not knowing how to explain. Xiaoya didn't tell me anything. Lin Yan frowned. Xing Chen was speechless. Ling Yu was speechless. Lin Yan had never imagined that Pei Qian and Pei Li would be evolved beings. Besides, they weren't ordinary evolved beings. This was too impressive. In Lin Yan's heart, the two children had always been obedient and adorable. They couldn't be compared to powerful evolved beings. Initially, Lin Yan had thought that she would protect the two children no matter what. But from the looks of it now, it seemed like she was thinking too much about who was protecting who. Before Lin Yan could continue pondering, she heard a thunderous explosion. Pei Qian, Pei Li, and Lin Nuo were sent flying like kites with their strings cut. Besides Pei Li, who seemed unscathed, Lin Nuo and Pei Li didn't look too good. How is that possible? Pei Qian stared at the guardian in disbelief. The guardian was much stronger than when he had fought with him earlier. It was as though he was a completely different person. He had already been terrifyingly strong before, but now, he was ridiculously strong. You didn't use your full strength earlier? Pei Qian glanced at the guardian in surprise. Hearing that, the protector smiled and said, which old man would use his full strength against 2 children? Pei Qian gritted his teeth. You're shameless. You didn't use your full strength previously. If you have the ability, don't use your full strength now. The guardian was speechless. This child was quite shameless. How is it? How is it? Lin Yan hurried over to the 3 of them, looking worried. I'm fine, replied Pei Li. Huh? Is he that powerful? Lin Yan glanced at Pei Li curiously. Lin Yan had seen with her own eyes that Pei Li had been hit countless times by the guardian, but there wasn't a single wound on his body. Yeah, I'm very powerful. Pei Li nodded solemnly at Lin Yan. You're fine, but we're not. Pei Qian pointed at his face. Pei Li glanced at Pei Qian and said coldly, useless. The corner of Lin Nua's mouth twitched. Useless. Count me in too, I'm in pain too. Lin Yan's heart ached when she saw Pei Qian's bruised face. She hurriedly rubbed his bruises. Baby, does it still hurt? Asked Lin Yan softly. It hurts. Mommy, it hurts so much. Mommy, help me rub it. It hurts here too. Pei Qian rubbed his face against Lin Yan's palm. With that, Pei Qian looked at Pei Li proudly. Wasn't he completely fine? Wasn't it an immortal body? Wasn't it really useless? Seeing this, Pei Li frowned. After staring at Lin Yan for some time, Pei Li suddenly placed his hand on her wrist. Lin Yan instinctively glanced at Pei Li. Sister, I also feel pain. Pei Li said softly. Didn't you say that you're fine? Where does it hurt? Asked Lin Yan frantically. Mom, don't bother about him. He's not in pain. He can't be beaten to death, and he won't feel pain, Pei Qian said anxiously. Lin Yan was dumbfounded. There were evolved beings in this world that couldn't be beaten to death? What kind of magical evolved ability was this? Why didn't she have it? Pei Li glared at Pei Qian fiercely. Although he didn't say anything, his gaze was threatening. End of this chapter. Chapter 1508. However, Pei Qian didn't fall for it at all. His face isn't swollen at all. It's his evolved ability. Pei Li stepped forward and pinched Pei Qian's face. In the next second, his face, which was swollen like a balloon, instantly returned to normal. You! Pei Qian glared at Pei Li and gritted his teeth. How dare he embarrass him in front of his mother? If his mother knew about this, what would she think of him? He was too despicable. Sister, actually, I'm in pain too. Lin Noa, who had been ignored, limped over. Before he could get close to her, he sensed 2 unfriendly gazes. Pei Qian and Pei Li were glaring at him coldly. Why are you in pain? I'm the one who helped you take the beating, replied Pei Li. Without waiting for Pei Qian to continue speaking, a terrifying pressure surged over like a wave, instantly enveloping everyone present. Aren't you guys being rude? The guardian smiled faintly. Xing Chen wiped the sweat off his forehead. How was this impolite? This was a blatant insult. It would have been fine if the enemy was weak, but they couldn't beat him at all. How could they look down on him? The guardian glanced at the time and said, I think it's getting late. It's time to end this farce. It's said that the 2 guardians are the strongest besides the holy leader. However, this is all I've seen today. I'm a little disappointed. I'm afraid it won't be that easy for you to take him away. Lin Noa glanced at the guardian and spoke coldly. The guardian wasn't angry. He merely chuckled softly. President Lin, you're the president of the Hunters Guild after all. Aren't you a little out of touch with the news? I only used half of my evolved ability. If I really wanted to kill you, I could do it in the blink of an eye. As the protector of the Holy Land finished speaking, everyone's expression changed slightly. Only half of your evolved ability? Ling Yu was in disbelief. If what the protector said was true, then it was simply too terrifying. If this protector used his full strength, then it would not be as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. However, I still have to say the unpleasant things first. Today, I'm only here for the two sisters, Mu Yan and Mu Yu. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I don't want you to get involved in this mess, but if you insist on stopping me, I won't hold back anymore. The protector's expression gradually turned serious. You talk too much nonsense. Watch as I punish you. Pei Qian acted as though he was going to charge forward. Come back. Pei Li looked at Pei Qian and frowned. Pei Qian was perplexed as he asked Pei Li, "What's wrong?" "Don't be rash," Pei Li said. It wasn't easy to deal with this protector. Apart from him, no one else here had an undying body, so he had to be extremely cautious. He didn't want any casualties. What? None of you are going to make a move? The protector smiled and said, "Since none of you are going to make a move, then I won't hold back." Wait. Suddenly, Pei Qian shouted at the protector. Who said we aren't going to make a move? Can't we discuss it? Why are you in such a hurry? Are you rushing to reincarnate as the leader? Don't be anxious, we're going to make a move soon. Everyone looked at Pei Qian with a strange expression. As the saying goes, the one who strikes first gains the upper hand, and the one who strikes last suffers. We'll attack him from 3 different angles. I'll use the evolved ability of lightning and wind to restrict his movements. Pei Qian whispered to Pei Li and Lin Nuo. End of this chapter. Chapter 1509. Before long, Lin Nuo and his 2 nephews finally made their move. The 3 of them split up and dashed toward the Guardian from different directions. The 3 of them were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they were only an inch away from the Guardian. Their fierce attacks were like a torrential storm, suffocating everyone. However, the Guardian stood where he was without any intention of dodging. No matter how fast they were, they couldn't even touch the corner of the Guardian's clothes. Lin Nuo's heart skipped a beat. It seemed like the Guardian wasn't lying. He probably hadn't even used half of his power. Lin Nuo had already come to the conclusion that they were not a match for this Holy Land protector. He had heard that the Guardian was very powerful, but he hadn't expected that he would be so powerful that he couldn't even hurt him. Such a powerful opponent was only a protector of a Holy Land. Just what level had the Holy Master of a Holy Land reached? Soon, 3 loud sounds were heard. Pei Qian and Pei Li were first sent flying. Lin Nuo persevered for a moment before he ended up in the same state as his nephews. Fortunately, Pei Li had an immortal body and wouldn't be injured. Pei Qian, on the other hand, was like a huge ball and didn't suffer any substantial injuries. Lin Nuo, on the other hand, had a broken rib. How are you? Lin Yan rushed forward to help Lin Nuo up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Sister. I'm fine. It's just that I'm not as good as my nephew. It's embarrassing. Lin Nuo looked embarrassed. Lin Yan hadn't heard what Lin Nuo had said. All she could feel was a surge of fury. She pointed at the Guardian and bellowed, "You beat up 2 kids and my brother. Do you really think I'm useless? I will fight you to the death." Before Lin Yan could fight the Guardian, Mu Yu pulled her back. The fish will definitely die, but the net won't break. Mu Yu glared at Lin Yan. Lin Yan nodded at Mu Yu. Yeah, I'm the net. Are you thinking too much? You're the fish, and the Guardian is the net, quipped Mu Yu. Lin Yan glanced at Mu Yu and gritted her teeth. Am I supposed to just watch? What's the difference between me and a piece of trash? He's trash anyway. What's the difference? Mu Yu frowned. Lin Yan was speechless. He was indeed merciless. But you're not the only one, Mu Yu said. Lin Yan instinctively glanced at Xing Chen and the others. Trash Xing Chen, trash Lin Yu, useless Bai He, it seems like I'm more useless than you. At least you saved my life. Mu Yu glanced at Lin Yan. Looking at Xing Chen and the others, and hearing Mu Yu's words, she felt a little better. Stop chatting. Follow me back to the Holy Land to receive your punishment. You still have time to continue chatting when you reach the Holy Land. The Guardian had appeared beside Lin Yan and Mu Yu. He grabbed Lin Yan and Mu Yu with one hand. The Protector's speed was too fast, catching Pei Qian and Pei Li off guard. On the other hand, Lin Nuo was able to keep up with the Holy Land Protector's speed, but the moment he made a move, he was forced to retreat by the Holy Land Protector. Let's go. The Protector grinned. As soon as he finished speaking, hundreds of cold lights appeared, and a few young men and women descended from the sky. The man in the lead was dressed simply in white, holding a long sword in his hand. As he waved the long sword, the evolved aura was like a raging wave. The Protector waved his hand and dispersed the cold light. I'm Mu Feng from the Mu family. Let me experience the power of the Protector, the leader said expressionlessly. End of this chapter. Chapter 1510. The man glanced at Lin Yan and Mu Yu. Lin Yan was stunned when she saw the man who had suddenly appeared. If she remembered correctly, he had said that he was from the Mu family. His name seemed to be Mu Feng. Even though she was indeed a member of the Mu family, she couldn't remember the Mu family at all. She didn't have any recollection of the Mu family members who had suddenly appeared. However, she felt as though she had heard Mu Feng's name somewhere before. This name should be very important. At least, it was very important to her. The Mu family, how unexpected. I didn't expect the Mu family to be here. They came at the right time. Xing Chen heaved a sigh of relief as he glanced at the Mu family members. Ling Yu glanced at Xing Chen and said softly, I'm afraid they didn't come in time. The Mu family should have been here a long time ago, but they haven't shown up. Hearing this, Xing Chen felt quite confused and asked with a strange expression, Are you sure? How do you know? Of course I'm sure. Who would be as stupid as you? Ling Yu replied. Xing Chen was speechless. Because Xiao Ji leaked the news about Sister Yan, many evolved beings rushed over. Who doesn't want to obtain Sister Yan's ability? Ling Yu quipped. Xing Chen was puzzled. What does this have to do with what you said? I don't understand. Idiot. Ling Yu glanced at Xing Chen. Think about it. So many evolved beings want to obtain Sister Yan's ability, but almost all of them are blocked outside by the sacred ground. As long as the sacred ground is there, I'm afraid even a fly can't fly in, let alone those evolved beings. How did the Mu family get in? Could they have avoided the sacred ground without anyone knowing? Xing Chen shook his head. If the sacred ground was guarding, no matter how strong an evolved being was, no one would be able to enter this city. Besides the disciples of the sacred ground, there are also 2 guardians and even the holy leader. Although the Mu family is powerful, even if the Mu family's mistress leads the team, they can't bypass the sacred ground, let alone force their way in, Ling Yu told Xing Chen. Xing Chen glanced at Ling Yu, looking even more confused. Yes, you're right. Then, how did the Mu family get in? Ling Yu could not help but roll her eyes. She had already said it so clearly, but Xing Chen still did not understand. The Mu family must have arrived in this city a long time ago. They just didn't show up to greet Sister Yan. They must have been watching Sister Yan in secret. Ling Yu analyzed the situation. That sounds reasonable. But why didn't they show up? Xing Chen asked again. Ling Yu, do you have 100,000 whys? How would I know? I'm not a member of the Mu family. If we can survive tonight, you can go and ask them yourself, Ling Yu said impatiently. Xing Chen did not continue speaking. His gaze fell on the men and women of the Mu clan. Mu family's eldest son, Mu Feng. Although I have never met him, I have heard of his great name. He is a legendary evolver. Xing Chen muttered. Ling Yu glanced at Xing Chen. Can you tell us something that we don't know? As an evolved being, who hasn't heard of Mu Feng? The eldest brother of the Mu family left the Mu family for a period of time and stirred up trouble overseas. He was wanted by the official Evolution Alliance overseas and was known as an SSS-rank perverted villain. His bounty was frighteningly high, and many famous evolvers died in his hands. In the end, it seemed like the Mu family's mistress accepted the mission issued by the Evolution Alliance overseas and personally subdued Mu Feng. She then took the bounty. Xing Chen said awkwardly. End of this chapter. Chapter 15:11. Lin Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What Xing Chen had said wasn't a secret. Almost everyone who paid attention to the evolved beings wanted list knew about this, especially the fact that Master Mu's mother had taken the list and beaten up her own son. She had then claimed the huge bounty. Almost everyone knew about this. Although Madame Mu had indeed completed the mission, the Foreign Evolution Alliance had been furious. In the end, they had given Madame Mu the title of a thief who cheated the bounty. They had placed her on the wanted list and made her the only evolved being who was still alive. Lin Yan's pupils constricted as she stared at Mu Feng. She had finally remembered that he was Mu Feng. Sister, what's wrong? Lin Nuan noticed that something was wrong with Lin Yan's expression. Her eyes were filled with agitation. It's him. Lin Yan tugged at Lin Nua's sleeve. Who? Lin Nua wasn't sure what Lin Yan was trying to say. Him. Mu Feng. Lin Yan replied excitedly. Yeah, the boss of the Mu family. He's a very powerful evolved being. Lin Nua nodded. No. Lin Yan shook her head hastily and gazed at Lin Nua. Do you know that he's very valuable? He's super valuable. Do you know how much his bounty is? You must know. Lin Nua frowned when he heard Lin Yan. Worth a lot. What did she mean? As the president of the Hunters Guild, Lin Nua naturally knew about Mu Feng. There were many alliances all over the world, just like the Hunters Guild. There was an evolutionary alliance that had the same nature as the Hunters Guild, and they had put out a bounty on Mu Feng's head. The reason was that Mu Feng had killed a few members of the alliance, so they had put out a bounty on Mu Feng as an SSS-class evolver who had done evil. The most ridiculous thing was that Madame Mu had accepted the mission. She had taught Mu Feng a lesson and brought him back to the Mu family. The Foreign Evolution Alliance had thought that Madame Mu hadn't completed the mission and should have killed Mu Feng. However, how could that be possible? In the end, the Foreign Evolution Alliance had concluded that Madame Mu had cheated them of their money, so they had placed Master Mu on the wanted list. Lin Nua glanced at Lin Yan. Had his sister become obsessed with money? Lin Nua was the eldest son of the Mu family. He was her brother. Lin Nua realized that the way Lin Yan looked at Mu Feng had changed. Mu Feng felt as though someone was staring at him, so he instinctively turned to look at Lin Yan. Mu Feng realized that there was something amiss about the way Lin Yan was looking at him. Sister, did you remember me? The way you're looking at me seems to be filled with longing and excitement, Mu Feng said to the woman beside him. Cousin, that should be the case. Cousin seems to have recovered her memory. After not seeing you for so many years, she must miss you. But please respect the protector of the Holy Land. He is not a small character. The girl said. Holy Land Protector, can you give me some face and not make things difficult for my two little sisters? Mu Feng's gaze finally landed on the Holy Land Protector. After Mu Feng finished speaking, the Holy Land Protector smiled faintly and said, What's wrong? Could it be that you have that much face? Mu Feng said, Since that's the case, I'll have to experience it. With that, Mu Feng disappeared from where he stood. In an instant, cold beams of light shot toward the Holy Land Protector from all directions. The Holy Land Protector leaped up and used his palm as a blade to block the cold beams. End of this chapter. Chapter 15:12. After a while, the Protector of the Holy Land stood where he was and looked at Mu Feng, who was not far from him. He smiled and said, "Young man, your evolution level is very high. It seems that the Mu family is also a clan that does not lack genius evolvers. Are you interested in joining the Holy Land? The responsibility of maintaining the balance of the world will fall on your shoulders in the future." As the protector of the Holy Land finished speaking, Pei Qian sneered. "I say, old man, is your Holy Land lacking people? Why do you say that to everyone you see? You big liar." Mu Feng glanced at Pei Qian and said coldly, "He didn't lie this time." Huh? Pei Qian was confused. Why? Mu Feng's face was expressionless. He didn't lie. I'm indeed a genius. Pei Qian was stunned. The corners of his mouth twitched. Pei Li was speechless, Xing Chen was speechless, Lin Yu was speechless. Lin Yan asked, "How much is his bounty?" Lin Nua was speechless. "Young man, how about it? Are you interested in joining the sacred land? It will be your future glory and glory." "Thank you, but I don't like balance." "I'm not interested," replied Mu Feng. "All right, that's a pity. Young evolved beings these days are getting more and more irresponsible." The guardian sighed and glanced at Mu Feng. "Young man, your evolution ability is indeed very strong, but it's still far from mine. Don't get in the way, or I will kill you. Guardian, if you're really that strong, would you dare to take a blow from me?" Mu Feng asked solemnly. Mu Yu stared at Mu Feng with a complicated smile on her face. "It's been so many years, but you haven't changed. You're still so serious and shameless. All right, let's try." The guardian grinned. Mu Feng vanished from his spot. He moved as fast as he could and appeared beside the guardian in an instant. There was a loud swoosh. Mu Feng slashed down with his sword, bringing with it an earth-shattering sound. Ding! Under the dumbfounded gazes of the crowd, the protector of the Holy Land did not dodge the sharp sword that could destroy anything. Instead, he used 2 fingers to stop it. Mu Feng instinctively retreated and maintained a safe distance from the Holy Land protector. "The protector of the Holy Land, you truly live up to your reputation. Powerful, I admire you." Mu Feng stared at the protector of the Holy Land and said coldly. "Heh, young man, what era is this? You're still using a sword. You're an evolver, yet you're using a sword as a weapon. Either your brain isn't normal, or you're deliberately trying to act cool. See, am I right?" The protector stared at the sword in Mu Feng's hand and sneered. The young men and women beside Mu Feng couldn't help but look at each other. Although Mu Feng wouldn't admit it himself, the Holy Land protector was right. He was just pretending to be cool. Bang! A loud sound reverberated throughout the arena. The protector lowered his head and looked at the wound on his shoulder. After that, he looked at Mu Feng in disbelief. Not only were the protectors of the Holy Land dumbfounded, even Pei Qian, Pei Li, Lin Nua, and the rest were dumbfounded. At this moment, Lin Nua was holding a pistol that was still smoking. "I just thought about it, and what you said makes sense. I will use this," Mu Feng said seriously. "This bullet is specially made to target evolvers." Pei Qian was speechless, Pei Li was speechless, Lin Nua was speechless, Xing Chen was speechless, Ling Yu was speechless, Mu Yu was speechless, Lin Yan was speechless. End of this chapter. Chapter 15-13. Everyone turned to look at Mu Feng in unison. Why was the leader of the Mu family, a legendary evolved being, acting so strangely? The guardian had said that his sword skills were outdated, but he hadn't retorted at all. Instead, he had whipped out a gun and used special bullets to injure the guardian. Lin Yan had never imagined that the sage-like man, who had appeared with a sword in his hand, would do such a thing. What left her speechless was how he could maintain a straight face and do such a shameless thing. It was really shocking. Mu Yu stared at Mu Feng, wanting to say something. However, she didn't say anything in the end. They didn't understand the Mu family's big brother. Mu Yu had grown up with him, so she naturally knew what kind of person Mu Feng was. This fellow wasn't easy to deal with. He had liked to bully her and her sister, Mu Yan, since they were young. Not only that, but he had also bullied the younger generation of the Mu family. Not only was he evil, but he was also extremely shameless. Of course, Mu Feng might not think that he was shameless, but everything he did, even though his expression was very serious, was very shameless. Just like how he had bullied her and her sister, Mu Yan, back then, how could she imagine that the serious-looking big brother would casually snatch their snacks away? Therefore, what Mu Feng did just now, others might find it unbelievable and extremely shocking, but she wouldn't. It was all too normal. In fact, when he made his move, she already had a bad premonition. In the end, as expected, his elegance was still the same as before. How can there be such a shameless young man like you in this world? I'm just saying that as an evolved being, you are very deliberate with your sword. It's strange. I didn't ask you to change your gun, but you use special bullets. As an evolved being, don't you think it's embarrassing to use an ordinary person's gun? The guardian glared at Mu Feng as he bellowed. Mu Feng pondered for a moment before he lowered his head, as though he was looking for something. Cousin, stop looking. I left the fiercer ones at home. Isn't it tiring to carry that thing? Besides, ordinary people would be scared out of their wits. We would be taken away, a girl said timidly. Oh. Mu Feng glanced at the girl. The protector frowned deeply. Just now, what was that young man looking for? Xing Chen poked the back of Ling Yu's hand. Just now, was he looking for cannons? Ah, this. I don't know, but it seems like, maybe, there is such a possibility. I always feel that there is something wrong with this person's brain, and he is not someone to be trifled with. Ling Yu wiped the sweat off her forehead. Hey, Pei Li, what was he looking for? Pei Qian looked at Pei Li. It could be a rocket launcher, Pei Li said after thinking for a moment. Fine. Since that's the case, I won't use a gun. Even if it's a special bullet, it shouldn't pose much of a threat to you, Mu Feng said calmly. All right. Young man, let us continue. The protector of the Holy Land chuckled. Bang! Just as he finished speaking, Mu Feng raised his hand and shot the Holy Land protector's wrist. Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Nua, Pei Qian, Pei Li, Mu Yu was speechless. Xing Chen, Ling Yu, the Mu family members. End of chapter. Chapter 15-14. Lin Yan stared at Mu Feng intently. This man. Was he really the SSS wanted criminal on the evolved being's bounty list's bounty list? Although he was worth a lot of money, he didn't seem like someone to provoke. Suddenly, Lin Yan shook her head vigorously. What was she thinking? Although this man was extremely valuable, he was from the Mu family, so he should be her brother. Previously, she was actually thinking of ways to capture Mu Feng and exchange him for tons of rewards. How could I do that? Lin Yan mumbled to herself, ashamed of her previous thoughts. She wished she could slap herself on the spot. How could she have been so stupid? Why hadn't she just kidnapped him? Hadn't Madame Mu done that back then? At that moment, the protector looked at his wrist and frowned slightly. Shortly after, he looked at Mu Feng and sighed, say, you youngsters these days really don't have any manners at all. You said you don't need to use it, yet you stabbed me with your spear again. You really are a little bastard. Mu Feng replied calmly, I didn't need it, but there was still one bullet left. It would be a waste if I didn't use it. I've used it now. After Mu Feng finished speaking, he threw the pistol aside. This kind of toy shouldn't be a problem for other evolved beings, but it won't work on me, said the guardian. The wound that the guardian had been pierced by the special bullet healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Just as he had said, this kind of thing had no effect on him. Looking at the protector of the Holy Land, Mu Feng didn't refute him. He had only done it on a whim. Naturally, he knew that such a thing wouldn't be able to threaten the protector of the Holy Land. Not to mention the protector's body, even if the protector's forehead was hit, he wouldn't feel any pain. In a second, the aura of an evolved being on Mu Feng's body rose to its peak. It was as though a primordial beast that had been sealed for a long time had awakened. Xing Chen, who was surprised by the change in Mu Feng's aura, said, "What a terrifying aura. What level of evolution did you achieve?" "Indeed, he is very powerful." However, Bai He looked at Mu Feng. Even if that was the case, he was still too weak to deal with a protector from a holy land. Of the two Holy Land protectors, one had evolved purely in the spiritual domain, while the other had evolved purely in the physical domain. Both had reached the pinnacle, and now, they were facing a protector whose physical body had evolved to the pinnacle. Although the Mu clan's Mu Feng was powerful, compared to a protector, he was probably still inferior. However, it was not appropriate for Bai He to say such morale-shattering words. Everyone was looking at Mu Feng. It was rare to see such a powerful evolver, and they were all looking forward to it. Little bastard. The Holy Land Protector looked at Mu Feng with a smile. Originally, this matter had nothing to do with you. However, you insisted on causing trouble. So, I can only kill you first. Pei Qian pointed at Pei Li, who was beside him, and said, "Humph, shamelessly boastful old man. What's the point of killing him? If you have the ability, then kill this one." As soon as Pei Qian finished speaking, Pei Li looked at Pei Qian with an unfriendly gaze. The Holy Land Protector couldn't be bothered with Pei Qian. He stared at Mu Feng and said, "Are you ready to die?" Hearing this, Mu Feng frowned and said coldly, "I'm not ready yet." Wait a moment. The Holy Land Protector was speechless. Sorry for the long wait, there will be more later. End of this chapter. Chapter 15:15. Had he been in seclusion for too long? Youngsters these days were different. It was the same for the young and the old. This must be the generation gap. "I'm done," Mu Feng said. "Then I'll start with you." The Guardian was about to strike. Mu Feng said, "Hold on. I'm not ready. I've thought about it." The Guardian seemed to have lost his patience. "What do you mean?" "Her and her." Mu Feng pointed at Lin Yan and Mu Yu. "I give up on these two sisters. I'm no match for you. You can take them away." "They have nothing to do with me anyway," Mu Feng replied. Lin Yan was speechless, Mu Yu was speechless, everyone was speechless. Nothing to do with them? The Guardian was puzzled. "Aren't they your sisters? How could they have nothing to do with you?" "Yeah." Mu Feng nodded. "It's fine. Mother can give birth to more sisters. You little bee asterisk starred. You're really heartless. If I were your parents, I would have drowned you when you were born," the Guardian quipped. Mu Feng studied the Guardian for a moment before replying solemnly, "My mother doesn't like you." The Guardian was speechless. "Forget it. I won't talk nonsense with you. Since you've said that you won't interfere in this matter, I have no reason to attack you. This has nothing to do with you anymore." The Guardian grabbed Lin Yan and Mu Yu, who had yet to snap back to their senses. However, just as the Protector was about to leave, Mu Feng appeared behind the Protector as though he had teleported. The sword in his right hand and his left fist punched out at the same time. The sword landed on the Protector's back, while the fist landed on his neck. The Guardian was sent flying in an instant. "Mu Feng, you're a disgrace to the Mu family." Mu Yu sneered coldly at Mu Feng. Mu Feng stared at Mu Yu expressionlessly. He opened his mouth, but there was no sound. Mu Yu flew into a rage when she read Mu Feng's lips. "Scold me again." Even Lin Yan was infuriated. He had just said that Mu Yu was ugly. Lin Yan gritted her teeth. Was this man blind? How was Mu Yu ugly? Did he even have a human sense of beauty? Mu Yu was clearly as beautiful as a fairy. "Don't speak nonsense." Lin Yan glared at Mu Feng. "Sister Mu Yu looks like a fairy. She's the prettiest girl in the world. Are you blind?" Mu Yu sneered coldly. You sure are tactful. Before Lin Yen could reply, the ground shook violently. Be careful. Bai he couldn't help but shout. The protector stomped his foot on the ground and shot forward like a cannonball. Boom! A loud sound exploded like muffled thunder. The protector of the Holy Land slammed into Mu Feng, causing him to fall to the ground. Little bastard, your mouth is truly full of lies, the envoy from the Holy Land scolded sternly as he looked at Mu Feng, who was in an extremely sorry state. Although Mu Feng's methods were unable to cause much harm to him, the protector of the Holy Land hated this kind of behavior to the extreme. Are you all right? Lin Yen was worried about Mu Feng's safety. You'll know once you try. Mu Feng stood up and patted the dust off his clothes. Mu Feng stared at the protector with a frown. I, Mu Feng, am a man of my words. I have always been indomitable and indomitable. Of course, I wouldn't lie. I just regret it. We didn't agree that I can't go back on my word. End of this chapter. Chapter 15-16. After Mu Feng finished speaking, the protector of the sacred land did not say anything else and sent a palm strike towards him. Mu Feng's expression changed slightly as he raised his sword to block it. When the protector's palm landed on the sword was broken, and Mu Feng was forced to retreat more than 10 steps. Is the guardian really that powerful? Lin Yan's heart skipped a beat. He was just a guardian, yet he had already made them feel hopeless. So many powerful evolved beings weren't enough. If this guardian had been more vicious, they would have died a long time ago. Besides, there were 2 guardians, and above them was the holy leader. Is there no way to defeat him? Lin Yen glanced at Mu Yu nervously. Yes, replied Mu Yu. What is it? Asked Lin Yen anxiously. Just find an evolved being stronger than him, replied Mu Yu coldly. Lin Yen was speechless. She was really smart. Did she need to say that? You're so beautiful. Lin Yen suppressed her anger and smiled at Mu Yu. You too, replied Mu Yu. You, and you guys. Mu Feng pointed at Lin Nua and Pei Qian. Can't you see that I can't beat him? Yes, we can't do anything about it. We can't beat him either. Pei Qian was confused. Can't you help me? Are you just going to watch me get beaten up? Asked Mu Feng. The few of them were speechless. His invincible aura had been too intimidating. How would they dare to step forward? What if he held them back? Soon, Lin Noa and the others surrounded the guardian. You. Mu Feng pointed at Xing Chen, Ling Yu, and Bai He. You guys. Mu Feng frowned. It's fine. Xing Chen was speechless, Ling Yu was speechless, Bai He was speechless. What do you mean by that? Are you looking down on us? Xing Chen was indignant. I think what you said. Xing Chen's indignation was replaced by a smile when he sensed Mu Feng's cold gaze. I think what you said. You said. You're right. It was best not to provoke evolved beings of this level, especially Mu Feng. He wasn't normal, so it wouldn't be surprising if he did anything. Hit him. Mu Feng pointed at the protectors of the sacred land as he spoke to Lin Nua and the rest. It's not easy to handle. Lin Nua opened his mouth. This Holy Land protector's fleshly body has evolved to the extreme. Only evolvers in the spiritual domain can harm him. Aren't you the leader of the Hunters Guild? Does the Hunters Guild not have any evolvers with mental abilities? Pei Li asked. Lin Nua smiled bitterly. I'm just the president. It doesn't mean that I have absolute control. The Hunters Guild system is more complete, and the Holy Land Protector did not violate our rules, so I'm just representing myself to participate in the battle, and not representing the Hunters Guild. Moreover, although the Hunters Guild had evolved people with a spiritual domain, using them to deal with a Holy Land Guardian of this level was tantamount to courting death. They would not be of any use at all. In order to deal with an evolver of this level, one must at least have an extremely high level of spiritual evolution. Otherwise, it would be useless. Pei fell into deep thought. Although he had an immortal body, it was difficult for his power to cause any harm to the guardian of the holy ground. If only an evolved being with a spiritual domain could give it a try, then Pei Yucheng, without waiting for Pei to ponder, the Holy Land Protector launched his attack. End of chapter. Chapter 15-17. Although they weren't a match for the Guardian, they had the advantage in numbers. They wouldn't be defeated instantly, especially Pei, who was very difficult to deal with. Sister Muyu, aren't you an evolved being with a spiritual domain? Lin Yan glanced at Muyu. There were so many people present, but only Muyu had evolved in the spiritual domain. Muyu shook her head. I tried, but his spiritual defense is too strong. My mind control can't penetrate it. I can't do it. Is there no other way? Asked Lin Yan. Yes, find someone stronger than him to defeat. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. Muyu replied, Pei Yucheng's spiritual domain is very strong. Let Pei Yucheng restrain him and they should be able to do it. Lin Yan was speechless. This was a good idea, but it was a pity that Pei Yucheng was in seclusion and couldn't rush over. Although Lin Yan had never broken through an evolve before, she knew that once a high-level evolved being decided to break through, the process would be extremely dangerous. The slightest mistake could result in eternal damnation. If she disturbed Pei Yucheng's evolution now, he might die. Can he come? Muyu glanced at Lin Yan. I don't think so, Lin Yan replied honestly. Then there's nothing else to say, replied Muyu. Before Lin Yan could reply, a heavy object slammed into her. She stumbled and almost fell. Sister, I'm sorry. Lin Noa glanced at Lin Yan and smiled awkwardly. I was accidentally sent flying by the Guardian. Just as Lin Noa finished speaking, Pei Qian and Pei Li also flew over, looking extremely miserable. Only Mu Feng was still fighting bitterly. Lin Noa reacted swiftly and grabbed the two brothers. How can we fight? The difference is too big. If you are so capable, give me 10 years. Shameless old man. Lin Yan stroked Pei Qian's head as she watched him cursing and swearing. Are you guys watching a show? Mu Feng glanced at the young men and women of the Mu family. The young men and women of the Mu family looked helpless. They wanted to fight, but they weren't strong enough. Not only would they not be able to help, but they would also be a burden. It seemed like Mu Feng was anxious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked them to fight. At that moment, Lin Yan's phone rang at an inopportune time. She had wanted to hang up, but when she saw the caller, she braced herself and answered the call. Lame lunatic, Xiao Ji, she had just picked up the call when he hung up. Lin Yan was confused. Soon, Lin Yan spotted a few figures. Xiao Yao was dressed in formal attire. He looked at the things in his hands while looking at the road ahead. Found it, said Xiao Yao. When he got closer, Lin Yan realized that he was holding a compass. Xiao Yao led the way with a compass while Xiao Ji sat in a wheelchair pushed by a young man. Lin Yan was startled when she saw the man pushing the wheelchair. Lin Yan naturally recognized the man. In fact, she was very, very familiar with him. The younger brother he recognized, Xiao Zhe. Although he was her brother, she didn't know much about his background. She only knew that Xiao Zhe was powerful and had a lot of information. All these years, she had asked Xiao Zhe to gather information about her brother, but he hadn't found anything useful. However, Lin Yan didn't understand why Xiao Zhe would be with Xiao Ji and help him push the wheelchair. Xiao Zhe. Xiao Ji, Lin Yan's expression changed. They both had the surname Xiao. Could this fellow be Xiao Yao's illegitimate son? End of this chapter. Chapter 15-18. The more Lin Yan thought about it, the more she felt that it was possible. Besides, Xiao Zhe and Xiao Ji looked very similar. Xiao Zhe was Xiao Ji's illegitimate son. Although Xiao Ji looked young, as a powerful evolved being, who knew how old he was? Perhaps he was already in his 50s or 60s. Xiao Zhe glanced at Lin Yan and raised his hand to greet her. However, not only did Lin Yan ignore him, but she also sized him up with a strange gaze. She sized him up and then sized up his brother, Xiao Ji. Xiao Zhe was a little embarrassed. He reckoned that Lin Yan had guessed that he was Xiao Ji's younger brother. However, he hadn't hidden his identity, so she had never asked about it. Xiao Yao finally felt relieved when he saw the situation. It seemed like he had made it in time. He hadn't expected Xiao Ji to have such foresight. He had actually guessed that Guardian Long would definitely ignore the Holy Lord's orders and ignore the large number of evolved beings outside the city. He would enter the city first to look for Lin Yan. Xiao Yao was deep in thought as he studied the old man. That person should be one of the two guardians of the sacred ground, Guardian Long, whose body had evolved to the limit. Guardian Long, it's been a long time since we last met. You're still as elegant as ever. Xiao Ji greeted the Guardian with a faint smile. The Guardian sized up Xiao Ji for a moment and seemed to recall something. Suddenly, he smiled. Oh, I know you. You were a member of Mountain Sea back then. You must be Mountain Sea by Zhe. The retard of Mountain Sea. It seems like Guardian Long still can't tell what's a retard and what's a wise man. I've also realized something. Xiao Ji grinned. What is it? Tell me, the Guardian said curiously. No matter how powerful an evolved being is or how far they can evolve, they still need to study hard. Otherwise, they wouldn't be like Guardian Long. They are powerful, but their brains are empty. They are illiterate and make a fool of themselves, Xiao Ji said softly. The Guardian's face turned pale. You're cultured. How did you become a cripple? Xiao Ji didn't think much of it. I became a cripple because I evolved too deeply and my body couldn't take it. This doesn't seem to have anything to do with culture. Instead, it's Guardian Long who said that. Why? Do they know each other? Xing Chen looked at Ling Yu and asked softly. According to Xiao Ji's character, he should not be so talkative. Not only do we know each other, but we also have a blood feud. Ling Yu replied softly, this protector has killed so many members of the mountain and sea realm. Back then, he even seriously injured Xiao Ji. It's already very polite of Xiao Ji to not curse his ancestors. Xing Chen, Xiao Ji, have you forgotten the pain of that year? Since you didn't die, why don't you cherish your life? Instead, you plan on interfering again? The Holy Land's protector sneered. Protector Long is too kind. It's just a lowly life. Xiao Ji didn't get angry. He just smiled and said, I don't plan to fight today. It seems that Protector Long worries too much. That's for the best. I can't bear to kill you after seeing how crippled you are. The Protector sighed. Xiao Ji shook his head and said, although I don't intend to interfere, Guardian Long killed many of my close friends and heavily injured me. As the saying goes, it's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Guardian Long was illiterate at that time, so he probably didn't understand. You're courting death. The Holy Land's protector shouted angrily. He had just ridiculed Shanhai Baizhe as an idiot. It wasn't that he didn't understand the meaning of the words idiot and think tank. Instead, he was insulted by the words. End of this chapter. Chapter 15-19. Xiao Ji chuckled softly as he watched the Guardian rush over. Guardian Long, do you still think that I'm Baizhe? I used to be standing, but now, I'm a cripple. I've lost both my legs, but what I've obtained is power. The smile on Xiao Ji's face vanished instantly, replaced by a bone-chilling coldness. Just one glance seemed to be able to send one into the abyss of Azura and consign them to eternal damnation. Even Xiao Zhe and Xiao Yao felt a piercing chill. Xiao Zhe's entire aura changed drastically, as though he was an ancient god who had descended to the world with arrogance. Anyone who dared to despise a true god would die without a place to hide. Bang! Xiao Ji sat in his wheelchair without moving an inch. The guardian's speed, which had been so fast that it couldn't be seen with the naked eye, suddenly slowed down. Occasionally, there would be a dull look in his eyes. Although he would wake up quickly, he would fall back into a dull state the next second. This repeated and repeated, forming a vicious cycle. The boss of the third firmament? Mu Yu's eyes trailed to Xiao Ji. Just how far had this person's spiritual domain evolved? It was actually able to break through the guardian's spiritual defense in an instant without any warning. How could there be someone in this world who could reach such a level? Mu Yu was also a spiritual type evolved being. Although she wasn't a combat type, she was a control type. She had tried to break the guardian's spiritual defense previously, but it had been impossible. She felt a deep sense of powerlessness when faced with the guardian's spiritual defense. If she had to describe it, it would be as though the guardian's spiritual defense was an incomparably huge steel wall that could break through the sky. She was just a child who had just turned 1 month old. Other than powerlessness and despair, there was nothing else she could do. The boss of the third firmament wasn't just a pure spiritual type evolved being, but his level of evolution was unfathomable. Boom! There was a deafening sound. The protector bent his waist as though he was being crushed by an invisible mountain. The protector tried his best to straighten his body, trying to resist. His body exerted too much force, and because his strength was too great, a deep pit was formed in the ground, and the surrounding ground was filled with cracks. Kneel. Xiao Ji sat in his wheelchair, his face emotionless. His voice was cold and piercing, as though it didn't come from this world. Bastard. The protector of the Holy Land roared angrily, trying to break free. But in the next second, his expression became extremely sluggish. His knees cracked the ground, and he knelt on one knee. Mind control? Mu Yu looked at Xiao Ji with deep shock in her eyes. She was wrong. The boss of the third firmament was not only a pure combat form-type spiritual domain evolver, he was also a spiritual control evolver. The spiritual domain had undergone a double evolution. Go, kill this bad old man. Pei Qian bellowed and immediately rushed towards the dazed protector. Idiot, come back. Pei Li wanted to grab Pei Qian, but he ran too fast. In the end, as soon as he got close to the protector of the Holy Land, Pei Qian's eyes started to glaze over, and he knelt on the ground with a thud. He seemed to have lost his soul, and his entire body was covered in sweat. Not good. Lin Nuo was shocked. Idiot. Pei Li frowned when he saw Pei Qian's expression. Couldn't he see that Xiao Ji was a spiritual evolver? As long as he looked at him at a close distance, he would fall into his indiscriminate attack. End of chapter. Chapter 15-20. Xiao Ji glanced at Pei Qian and couldn't help but frown. The guardian could still resist, but Pei Qian couldn't. If Xiao Ji ignored him, even if he could kill the guardian today, Pei Qian would probably end up the same way. I'll go and save him. Bai He was about to step forward. However, before Bai He could move, Lin Nuo stepped forward and stopped him. You're not going to save him. You're going to die, Lin Nuo told Bai He. At Xiao Ji's level, only an evolved being of the same level could resist his spiritual domain attack. An evolved being like Bai He would die in an instant if he was careless. Will he die? Asked Bai He. Forget about it, replied Lin Nuo solemnly. Then. Can we find someone who won't die to save him? Following Bai He's words, everyone's gaze landed on Pei Li. Pei Li didn't reply. Needless to say, he planned to do the same. Don't go. Mu Feng placed his palm on Pei Li's left shoulder. Why? Pei Li was puzzled. As long as you're not an evolved being of the same level as him, you won't be able to move as long as you get close to him, explained Mu Feng. What should we do then? Lin Yan limped over anxiously. Mu Feng shook his head. There was no good solution unless Xiao Ji dispersed his spiritual control and attack power. Otherwise, before Lin Yan could respond, Pei Qian ran out of the room, drenched in sweat. Evidently, Xiao Ji had made a decision and stopped. Although Pei Qian was fine, the same was true for the guardian. Without any hesitation, the guardian dashed toward Xiao Ji. The protector knew that he had to kill Xiao Ji as soon as possible. No matter how terrifying Xiao Ji's spiritual domain was, his body was extremely weak. Just look at his legs. In fact, Xiao Ji's physique was probably inferior to that of an ordinary evolved being. As long as he got close to him, he would be killed. The threat that Xiao Ji posed to him was too great. If it hadn't been for the special circumstances, he would have died here today. Who would have thought that the wizard of the mountains and seas would grow to such a terrifying height? Seeing the Holy Land Protector rushing towards Xiao Ji without hesitation, the first to react were Mu Feng and Lin Nuo. Obviously, the Protector of the Holy Land had made up his mind to kill Xiao Ji after experiencing the terror of Xiao Ji. Although Xiao Ji's spiritual domain was terrifying, his body was very fragile. Even if Lin Yan got close to him, she would be able to kill Xiao Ji, let alone a peak evolved being like the guardian of the sacred ground. The Protector of the Holy Land was not far from the age of the continent of the 9 clouds, and his speed was extremely fast, so it was impossible to stop him. Seeing that the Protector of the Holy Land had rushed over, Xiao Yao took a few steps forward and guarded beside Xiao Ji. Bang! You're in the way, scram! The Protector of the Holy Land shouted. In the next second, Xiao Yao's fist collided with the Protector's fist. With a loud bang, Xiao Yao was no match for Lin Yun. He was forced to retreat more than 10 steps before he managed to stabilize himself. Xiao Zhe, who was in charge of pushing the wheelchair, was at a loss for what to do. Although he was also an evolved being, he was a weakling. Fighting wasn't his forte. His forte was obtaining information and making money. The treasures had been waiting for a long time. Continue writing. End of this chapter. Chapter 1521. Big Brother. Xiao Zhe glanced at Xiao Ji worriedly. Xiao Ji was expressionless. He merely lifted his head and scanned the sky, ignoring Xiao Zhe. The Protector had just approached Xiao Zhe when a figure suddenly descended from the sky. The newcomer kicked the Holy Land's Protector's head. No one knew what had happened, but they saw the person knock the Protector to the ground. How dare you bully my daughter? Not even the sacred ground can do that. The woman landed on the ground and bellowed coldly. Mu Ningxuang. Mu Yu's pupils constricted when she saw the woman. She was agitated. Mu Ningxuang. Lin Yan's heart skipped a beat when she saw the woman. Actually, Lin Yan could roughly guess the woman's identity based on Mu Yu's expression. She was the mistress of the Mu family, their mother. Mu Ningxuang scrutinized Lin Yan and Mu Yu with a conflicted expression. Xiaoyan, Xiaoyu, Mu Ningxuang murmured softly. Mu Ningxuang. Mu Yu glared at the woman, her eyes bloodshot. Mu Ningxuang had been the one who had pushed her to the sacred ground to die in place of Mu Yan. Mu Ningxuang could tell that Mu Yu hated her when she heard her tone. However, things weren't as she had imagined. She had a lot of responsibility for today's situation. Mistress of the Mu family, how dare you? I'll just pretend that the younger generation of the Mu family is ignorant and won't pursue the matter. As the mistress of the Mu family, your actions are openly provoking the sacred ground. Are you declaring war on the sacred ground? The Protector patted the dust off his body and stood up as though nothing had happened. Although Mu Ningxuang had a lot to say to Lin Yan and Mu Yu, now wasn't the time. I wouldn't dare go against the sacred ground. I'm just fulfilling my duty as a mother. It's my duty as a mother to protect my children. Mu Ningxuang glanced at the Protector. Protector Long, if you want to kill me, that was your best chance. It's also your only chance in this life. Unfortunately, you didn't grasp it the last time, and you still don't have the confidence this time. Xiao Ji glared at the protector. D***. Cold sweat broke out on the protector's forehead. He knew that Xiao Ji wasn't joking. Back when the mountains and seas had been destroyed, he had allowed Xiao Ji to survive because of a moment of carelessness. What had just been a good opportunity had been ruined by the matriarch of the Mu clan. At the moment, Xiao Ji's spiritual domain had been reactivated, and the Mu family's mistress was beside Xiao Ji, so he couldn't kill Xiao Ji instantly. The protector of the Holy Land did not waste any time and turned around to retreat. However, before he could do anything, his mind was in a trance. Before he knew what had happened, he had already completely lost his will and consciousness. Is he dead? Looking at the protector of the Holy Land who had fallen heavily to the ground, the white crane exclaimed in disbelief. I don't think so. However, if we don't use the spiritual domain to undo his spiritual seal, he will fall into an eternal slumber, Mu Feng said. Boom! Pei Li punched the tree behind Pei Qian, breaking it in half. Are you crazy? Pei Qian asked in surprise. Idiot. Pei Li glared at Pei Qian furiously. You almost killed everyone. Pei Li was unconvinced. He wanted to refute, but he couldn't refute anything. He was indeed too impulsive this time. It's not like I did it on purpose. Pei Qian snorted softly, then quietly hooked Pei Li's little hand. Okay, it's really my fault. I'm sorry, big brother. Don't be angry, I already know my mistake. It's not like you don't know my personality. Who told you not to look at me? Pei Li listened to Pei Qian calling him big brother and acting coquettishly to him. An imperceptible blush appeared on his little face, and his tone was stiff as he said, Your spirit is not damaged, right? No. Big brother, you still love me, Pei Qian said with a smile. Pei Li, shut up. Chapter 1522. Are the two of you alright? Lin Yan scurried over to Pei Qian and Pei Li and squatted down. Her heart ached for them. Mommy, I'm fine. Pei Qian pounced into Lin Yan's arms and admitted his mistake guiltily. Mommy, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. It's good that you're fine. You can't be so reckless next time. Lin Yan was talking to Pei Qian when Mu Ningxuang walked over. She studied the two children curiously and muttered to Lin Yan, These two children look so much like Cheng when he was young. Lin Yan glanced at Mu Ningxuang. She didn't know how to speak to her. You are. Lin Yan sounded nervous. Mu Ningxuang's eyes met Lin Yan's. Mu Ningxuang was speechless for a long time, but her eyes were red. Her daughter had actually asked her who she was. I'm Mommy. Mu Ningxuang's eyes were red as she smiled. I'm Mommy. Mommy? Pei Qian and Pei Li were astonished and in disbelief. So this pretty sister, who looked about the same age as their mother, was their mother's mother and their grandmother? Lin Yan's emotions were complicated. Logically speaking, she should be happy and excited to see her family. However, she hadn't regained her memory, so the person in front of her was a stranger. She didn't know how to greet her. However, the woman gave her a warm feeling. She must have been very close to her in the past. Mu Ningxuang. Suddenly, Mu Yu screamed and rushed forward with a dagger in her hand. She pressed it against the woman's neck. Xiao Yao was speechless, Xiao Zhe was speechless. What is this family doing? Doesn't anyone care about Big Brother? Big Brother saved everyone. Such a terrifying enemy fell just like that. There was no applause, no cheers, and no tears of joy. I can't accept this. Xiao Zhe snorted in displeasure. Xiao Ji glanced at Xiao Zhe. Although his face was expressionless, his eyes seemed to be expressing his agreement. Mu Yu, what are you doing? Mu Feng bellowed coldly. It has nothing to do with you. Mu Yu ignored Mu Feng and glared at Mu Ningxuang. Mu Yu, calm down. She is. Lin Yen blurted out anxiously. Mu Yu interrupted her. She's your mother, not mine. Otherwise, she wouldn't have sent me to the Holy Land to die for you. You have to figure this out first. Lin Yen tried to persuade her. She had a feeling that Mu Ningxuang wasn't that kind of person. Clear? I've already died once, what else do I need to know? Mu Yu said angrily. Lin Yen glanced at Mu Ningxuang and scratched her head. She still couldn't call her mom, so she didn't force herself. Can you tell us what happened? I've lost all my memories, I can't remember anything at all. Mu Ningxuang glanced at Mu Yu before turning to Lin Yen. She sighed as though she wanted to say something. Let me explain. Suddenly, Mu Feng stood up and said. Lin Yen and the rest turned to look at Mu Feng. Sigh, I don't know what to say for a while, Mu Feng said seriously. Lin Yen was speechless. Mu Feng sighed when he saw that Mu Yu's expression wasn't right. You're not only ugly, but you're also very stupid. Use your brain and think about it. No matter how much of a B** starred your mother is, even if she beat her son up to cheat for the reward money. Even if she is still a mother. End of this chapter. Chapter 1523. Mu Yu frowned. What are you trying to say? The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. Can't you get to the point? Oh, it's actually very simple. Back then, the Holy Land tried to kill Mu Yen. In the end, Mu Yen did not manage to die and was saved by Mu Yang. The Holy Land personally went to the Mu family and said that Mu Yen had made a mistake and ran away to escape punishment. If they did not hand Mu Yen over, they would be listed as fugitives from the Holy Land. Mu Feng looked at Mu Yu and continued, we didn't know what happened back then. Mu Yen had already gone missing and couldn't be handed over to the Holy Land. No one thought too much about it. We only thought that Mu Yen was in her rebellious phase and had caused trouble or broken the school rules. We only wanted to settle the matter first, so we asked you to pretend to be Mu Yen and go to the Holy Land to receive your punishment, lest Mu Yen becomes a fugitive from the Holy Land. Mu Ningxuang reached out and gently placed her hand on Mu Yu's head. I've been blaming myself for all these years. If I had been more cautious and sensed that something was wrong with the sacred land, things might not have turned out this way. To me, you and Yen are the same. Why should I believe you? Mu Yu shouted. Even if you don't understand Mom, don't you understand me? Mu Feng asked. What do you mean? Mu Yu asked. How would we know about Mu Yan's evolved ability? Who in the family doesn't think of her as a piece of trash? Don't you think of her as a piece of trash? Mu Feng curled his lips. Lin Yen was speechless. Hey, she's still here. Is it really okay to say that in front of her? So what? What does it have to do with this? Mu Yu said impatiently. Why did the master of the Holy Land want to kill Mu Yen? It's because of Mu Yan's incredible ability to evolve. We don't know about this ability, so how could we know that the Holy Land wanted to kill Mu Yen? Isn't this very reasonable? Moreover, at that time, I was the one who suggested to Mom to let you go in first. When we find that little bastard Mu Yen, we'll swap you back. It was just a stopgap measure. I really didn't know it would turn out like this, Mu Feng said. Do you think I believe that you guys don't know about Mu Yan's abilities? Mu Yu sneered. So, as I said just now, even if you don't understand Mom, don't you understand me? If we knew my sister had that kind of ability, would we have sent her to the Holy Land? Do you take me for a fool, or do you take your mother for a fool? If I knew she had such an ability, I would definitely have kept her at home and let her help us break through the bottleneck of evolution. Mu Feng's face was full of pity. Lin Yen was speechless. I feel like a tool. Fair and reasonable. Xiao Ji interjected at an untimely time. Lin Yen was speechless. Shut up. I believe that if the mistress of the Mu family really knew about the nine-headed phoenix's special evolution ability, she would never let Mu Yen enter the Holy Land. This is equivalent to sending Mu Yan to her death. Mu Yu, you just said that the mistress of the Mu family can only sacrifice you for Mu Yan. You can think about it. If the mistress of the Mu family knows about her ability, she can just stop her from going to the Holy Land. Everything will be solved, Xiao Ji said. Hearing this, Mu Feng clapped his hands and said, as expected of the Mountain Sea Realm's think tank. I've said so much, but none of it was as clear as a single sentence from you. However, Mu Yu did not believe such an excuse no matter what. She sneered and said, you don't have to say that. Be it me or Mu Yan, we are not members of the Mu family, and we are definitely not her daughter. The Mu family used to be a subsidiary force of the Shang family, and we only accepted a mission. Even if you don't know what Mu Yan's ability represents, the purpose of my existence is to eliminate disasters for her. Don't you know that? End of chapter. Chapter 1524. Although Mu Yu couldn't accept it, she had to admit that it was the truth. From the beginning, she was just a tool. A tool that was born for Mu Yan and a tool that would die for Mu Yan. This was her mission and the meaning of her existence in this world. However, she also had feelings. She relied on her family and loved them deeply. She understood joy and anger, good and evil. Even if she was cloned from Mu Yan's cells, even if the meaning of her existence was because of Mu Yan, why didn't anyone tell her about it from the beginning? Not only did they not let her understand her mission, but they even treated her as family. At least when she was young, she never doubted her identity. If Mu Ningxuang didn't treat her as a daughter and Mu Yan didn't treat her as a sister, would it have been better if they had told her that she was a clone and that she was destined to live and die for Mu Yan? If that was the case, she would have had a long time to accept it. She wouldn't have experienced the heart-wrenching pain of being abandoned and used by her family. If she had never received it, perhaps it wouldn't have been so painful. Mu Feng looked at Mu Ningxuang, not knowing what to say. Only his mother knew about everything. You're right. After a long time, Mu Ningxuang looked at Mu Yu and said, the meaning of your existence was for little Yen. Hearing this, Mu Yu's body trembled slightly. Even if she already knew the truth, hearing it from this woman's mouth, she still felt a chill down her spine and her heart was like dead ashes. Everything was her problem. She clearly knew why she existed in this world, but she couldn't accept it. This was probably her fault. Mu Ningxuang sighed. The Shang family did clearly tell me the meaning of your existence. I also told little Yen the truth. You were born to protect her. But little Yen never agreed to use you as a tool and didn't tell you about it. She really treated you as her sister. In the end, I chose to respect little Yan's opinion and let her have a sister to accompany her. You're so similar to little Yen and as cute as little Yen. Moreover, I raised you since you were young. Just like little Yen, I have long treated you as family. Mu Yu stared at Mu Ningxuang's eyes. Their eyes met. She wanted to find a flaw in Mu Ningxuang's eyes, but she couldn't find anything. Was it really like what Mu Ningxuang said? Was everything just a coincidence? Be careful. Suddenly, Lin Noa's expression changed greatly as he shouted at Mu Yu. Almost no one could react in time. A youth appeared out of nowhere and moved like a ghost. In an instant, he snatched Mu Yu's saber and sent her flying. Looking at the youth, Mu Ningxuang's expression changed. As for Mu Feng and the other members of the Mu clan, they immediately assumed a highly vigilant posture. How is it? Lin Yen hurried over to Mu Yu and helped her up. Then, she turned to look at the young man. The young man had short white hair and was wearing cute child-style pajamas. He was chewing gum, and his eyes were filled with coldness. Could it be another protector of the Holy Land? Why do they look so small? Lin Yen frowned. However, it was obvious that Lin Yen had overthought things. Greetings, mistress. The young man bowed to Mu Ningxuang. Mistress, father told you before that clone number 23. Oh, she's Mu Yu. Her purpose of existence is to help my little sister block disasters. Only when she dies would she be considered to have completed her mission. End of chapter. Chapter 1525. What's going on? Xing Chen was shocked. That child's evolution aura is terrifying. It's close to that of the protector. Ling Yu was equally shocked. Xing Chen asked, what's his background? Could he be an enemy of that demoness? Ling Yu shook her head. I don't know either. I don't have any information about this person. I don't know if he's a friend or foe. Don't act rashly. Shang San. Mu Ningxuang stared at the youth in shock. Mistress, I'm only the third child. You can't change my name to Shang San just because I'm the third child. My name is Shang Hui, the youth said. Shang San, what are you doing? Mu Feng shouted. Shang Hui was speechless. Little Feng, don't be so rude. Mu Ningxuang looked at Mu Feng with displeasure. The adopted children of the Shang clan were not to be trifled with, especially this youth who looked so young. Mu Ningxuang took a step forward and stared at Shang Hui with displeasure. Shang San, how dare you harm my daughter? Shang Hui said expressionlessly, Mistress, you've already broken the agreement you made with father. Father wanted me to deal with Mu Yu when she held a grudge, but you didn't agree. For the time being, we will give Mistress some face. Seeing that she hasn't made any substantial mistakes, we will spare her life. But now, I'm afraid we can't give Mistress such face. If she dares to attack Mistress today, she will be able to kill little sister in the future. How dare you? Mu Ningxuang said coldly. She's my daughter. This is a family matter. It has nothing to do with the Shang clan or Shang Yuan. Mu Ningxuang's eyes flashed coldly at the mention of Shang Yuan. Mistress, I'm sorry. Mu Yu is your daughter. That's your subjective opinion, but Mu Yu is Shang clan's clone 23. That's objective. She was created by my father. In a sense, you're just keeping her for him. Now, I need to retrieve clone 23, Shang Hui said. Shang San, if you want to kill my daughter, you'll have to do it over my dead body. Mu Ningxuang's expression was resolute. Mistress, I think you've misunderstood. I don't dare to fight you, but I believe you know me. I'm afraid there aren't many evolvers in this world who can match my speed. If I want to kill her, I only need an instant. No one here should be able to stop me, Shang Hui said. Mu Ningxuang fell into silence when she heard this. Shang Hui's speed was indeed extraordinarily fast, and he was one of the best amongst Shang Yuan's abnormally strong foster children. Immediately, Mu Ningxuang seemed to have thought of something, and her eyes fell on Xiao Ji. The attack power and control power of Xiao Ji's spiritual realm were unparalleled. Even if he was fast, it was impossible for him to be faster than a spiritual thought of Xiao Ji. Only Xiao Ji could stop him. Cripple, can you do me a favor? Mu Ningxuang looked at Xiao Ji in a friendly manner. The cripple in the wheelchair, help me out and the Mu family will owe you a huge favor. Mu Feng also spoke up. Xiao Yao, Xiao Zhe looked at Xiao Ji's legs, then at Mu Ningxuang and Mu Feng. Could these two talk? With such a low EQ, you still want me to help you? Even if you wanted to help, you wouldn't. No wonder. It could have been easily explained, but the mother and son ended up in such a situation. They deserved it. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Xiao Ji refused without hesitation. Xiao Yao and Xiao Zhe looked at Xiao Ji at the same time. End of this chapter. Chapter 1526. Xiao Zhe had no choice but to help. He hadn't expected that Big Brother would reject him. That couldn't be. Big Brother shouldn't be that petty. Besides, he was indeed a cripple. This is the Shang family's business. As an outsider, I have no right to interfere. Xiao Ji glanced at Mu Yu. Most importantly, the seeds of hatred in Mu Yu's heart have already been planted. I'm afraid it has grown into a towering tree. She is indeed a threat. If it were me, I would do the same thing as Shang-san. Thank you for your understanding, but my name is Shang Hui. Shang Hui glanced at Xiao Ji. Then I'll kill you first. Mu Feng's sword slashed at Shang Hui. The young men and women of the Mu family reacted swiftly and surrounded Shang Hui. At that moment, Shang Hui's hands were in the pockets of his cartoon pajamas. He landed on Mu Feng's long sword. Without even looking at Mu Feng, his feet pushed off the long sword and he quickly flew towards Mu Yu. Shang Hui's speed was so fast that it was hard for anyone to react, especially in a short distance. No one could compare to him. Shang Hui held a custom-made dagger in his hand. The cold gleam on the dagger made Lin Yan unable to open her eyes. She wanted to stop the young man, but he was too fast for her to react. Finally, as though her body had reacted instinctively, she turned around and protected Mu Yu. Seeing this, Shang Hui frowned deeply and came to a stop. Mu Feng and the rest of the Mu family were about to rush over when Mu Ningxuang stopped them. Shang Hui was too fast. If he wanted to kill Mu Yu, they wouldn't be able to stop him. However, Mu Yan was different. Shang Hui wouldn't hurt her, especially since Mu Yu was being protected. If they went over now, they would only be adding to the trouble. Fortunately, I can tell who is Mu Yu and who is you, replied Shang Hui. Who are you? Why do you want to kill my sister? Lin Yan hugged Mu Yu as she bellowed. Your sister? Shang Hui glanced at Mu Yu coldly. She is just a tool. Her purpose of existence is to die for you one day. Do you think a tool is your sister? At this moment, Mu Yu's body was trembling. Every word from Shang Hui was like a sharp knife stabbing into her heart. For so many years, she had been unwilling to admit it. She had tried her best to get rid of it, but at this moment, it was like a mountain pressing down on her. She was just a tool that could not be changed no matter what. Shut up. Lin Yan glared at the young man. You're so young, yet you're so mean. She has never been a tool. So what if she is? I like to treat a tool as my sister. What has it got to do with you? Are you too free to do anything? You need to understand one thing. We are a family. If you treat this failure as your sister, she'll kill you, Shang Hui said. You and I are family? Lin Yan was a little confused, but she didn't think too much about it. I don't care who you are or what you do. If you want to kill my sister, just like Madam said, you have to step over my dead body. Although she had forgotten everything, perhaps she had obtained a new life. However, forgetting wasn't an excuse. She had created Mountain Sea, and her family had once existed. However, she had failed to protect them. End of this chapter. Chapter 1527. This time, she wanted to protect every single family member, every single person she valued. Even if she didn't have much ability, she could still be a mad dog. She would bite anyone who harmed her family, and she wouldn't care even if she was kicked to death. Mu Yu gazed at the girl who was hugging her. Her thoughts seemed to have drifted back to the past, filled with laughter and joy. This temperature seemed to be familiar to her. Little sister, get up. Shang Hui hissed coldly. Little girl, hurry up and go to school. I will buy you a lollipop tomorrow. Lin Yan hissed coldly. I'm your third brother. Shang Hui frowned. All right. Don't tell me that you're my brother. As long as you don't be rash and hurt my sister, you can be my father. If you think that you're too young, I can make you my grandfather, replied Lin Yan. Shang Hui was speechless. Although his sister had lost her memory, her character hadn't changed at all. Little sister, I will explain the situation to you later. I can't let you fall into danger because of your soft-heartedness, replied Shang Hui. Even if the danger of the sacred land could be resolved, What would happen to this clone? She controlled her father's experimental technology. As long as she didn't get rid of the hatred in her heart, both Madame Mu and her sister would die in her hands. Madame Mu might be soft-hearted, but she wasn't a saint. She was just a clone. She had been born to help her sister. Since she had developed hatred, it meant that she was a failure. A failure should be destroyed. Before Lin Yan could retort, Shang Hui had vanished from where he stood. In the blink of an eye, Shang Hui had appeared behind Mu Yu. No matter how Lin Yan protected Mu Yu, she couldn't protect her from every angle. She could kill the clone with one blow. Lin Yan's expression changed drastically. Shang Hui was too fast, and her body couldn't react in time. Just as the dagger was about to pierce Mu Yu's neck, a shadow flashed before Lin Yan's eyes. A strong hand grabbed Shang Hui's wrist. The man was wearing a white shirt, and he exuded a cold aura that kept people at arm's length. Lin Yan had met this man more than once. Shang Yu, what's the meaning of this? Shang Hui lifted his head to look at the man with dissatisfaction. Third brother, stop. Shang Yu stared at Shang Hui and said indifferently, what's the difference between doing this and the Holy Land? I know, but this is father's wish, as well as mine and fifth brother's, Shang Hui said. But father doesn't know that madam and my sister value her so much. One treats her like their own daughter, while the other treats her like her real sister. If father knew, I'm afraid he would consider it more. Fine, you're the eldest, so you have the final say. However, when the time comes, you'll have to answer to father yourself. Shang Hui snorted coldly. Shang Yu loosened his grip and Shang Hui sheathed his dagger. Little sister, I'm fine now. Shang Yu turned around and smiled at Lin Yan. I think we've met more than once. So you're my father's. Lin Yan stared at the man as realization dawned on her. Based on the information she had gathered, her biological father was Shang Yuan, the head of the Shang family. Pei Yuqing had said that Shang Yuan had many adopted sons and daughters. The two men before her had to be two of them. No wonder. Chapter 1528. So this young boy in pajamas was really her brother? Little sister, since boss has spoken, I won't do anything now. However, father still needs to decide her fate. He hates failed creations the most. Even if you want to keep her, I don't think it's possible, Shang Hui told Lin Yan. Father, Lin Yan fell into deep thought. The leader of the Shang family, Shang Yuan, was said to be the most powerful evolved being apart from the sacred land. Lin Yan didn't know much about her father. She couldn't remember anything about him, but she was curious about what kind of person her father was. He was the leader of the most powerful evolved being apart from the sacred land. Where is he? Asked Lin Yan. No one has ever been able to control father's whereabouts. He will appear when he should, replied Shang Hui. Lin Yan was speechless. Shouldn't he appear? Was she really his daughter? She had almost been killed by the guardian of the sacred land. Let's talk about this later. Lin Nua stepped forward and said, my colleagues in the guild have just received news that the evolvers outside the city have basically been suppressed by the power of the Holy Land. The other protector and the holy leader of the Holy Land are already coming here. With our strength, we may not be able to stop them. If the Shang family is willing to intervene, there should be hope. Lin Nua glanced at Shang Yu. You might have some misunderstanding about the sacred land, said Shang Hui. Even 10 members of the Shang family wouldn't be a match for the holy leader, let alone one. Everyone's expressions changed when they heard Shang Hui's words. They naturally knew how powerful the sacred land was. However, the Shang family was the strongest evolved being apart from the sacred land. They should be able to fight, but Shang Hui said that even 10 members of the Shang family wouldn't be able to defeat the sacred land. Is the power of the sacred land that terrifying? Lin Yan asked in disbelief. It's not the power of the sacred land that's terrifying. It's the power of the holy leader. Shang Hui explained, the Holy Lord's level of evolution has reached an unprecedented level. In this world, there is no power that can pose a substantial threat to the Holy Lord. He's practically a god among evolvers. Lin Yen was speechless. Then why should I fight? I should just surrender and beg the Holy Leader to spare my life. However, there's no need to be discouraged. Father said that he has a way to restrain the Holy Master, Shang Hui said. Lin Yan's face darkened as she glanced at Shang Hui. Couldn't he finish his sentence in one go? Sister Rain, activate the prison field. Lin Nua's gaze landed on Muyu. The prison field was an evolution space that Rain had created many years ago. It was a place where the Hunters Guild used to imprison evolvers who had committed heinous crimes. Since they were being targeted by the Holy Land, there was no way they could escape. They might as well choose a place that was advantageous to them. Muyu studied Lin Yen intently before she replied, my creations are in the prison. They are quite powerful, so that's my home ground. Every time she thought of the prison, her scalp would turn numb. She really didn't want to go back there. But the current situation, at that moment, Lin Yen thought about Pei Yucheng. She wondered how he had evolved and if he had encountered any danger. However, she couldn't go back to Cloud Manor now. She couldn't bring trouble to them. Actually, if the Holy Leader really can't win, there's really no need for everyone to take the risk for me. Lin Yen inhaled deeply and glanced at everyone. End of chapter. Chapter 1529. Although she was very touched, she didn't want anyone to get hurt or die because of her. You and Xiaoyu are my daughters. Mu Ningxuang strode forward and gazed at Lin Yen and Muyu. Muyu studied the woman in front of her, feeling conflicted. Judging from their actions, Mu Ningxuang and Mu Yen weren't what she had imagined. If they had merely treated her as a tool, they could have just let Shang Hui deal with her. Why would they go through so much trouble? There was no need or reason for them to put on an act. Perhaps she had really been wrong. However, although she wanted to talk to Mu Ningxuang, she couldn't bring herself to do so. If you die, I won't be able to live for long. Xiao Ji glanced at Lin Yen. Don't forget our agreement. If we survive this time, help me evolve. At the very least, restore my legs. I really can't remember our agreement, but, if I really survive, I will find a way to keep my promise. Lin Yen walked to Xiao Ji and extended her hand. Xiao Ji glanced at Lin Yan's hand and was at a loss for words. What do you mean? Asked Xiao Ji. In the past, we were family and comrades who fought side by side. In the future, we will still be. Lin Yen smiled. Is that so? Xiao Ji gazed at Lin Yen and shook her hand. I will acknowledge you for now. Pei Qian and Pei Li strode behind Lin Yen, glaring at her. How dare he hold his mother's hand? Let's go. We won't make it in time, Lin Nua urged. Lin Yen wanted to send Pei Yucheng a message, but she decided against it. She would let him break through and evolve in peace. Half an hour later, everyone arrived at the prison. Lin Yen surveyed her surroundings, looking puzzled. This prison was very different from the last time she had been here. It had been a deserted desert, but this time, there were green mountains and clear waters. Muyu, who seemed to sense Lin Yan's confusion, said, that was a disguise. What kind of high-tech technology is this? Lin Yen was astonished. It's a combination of evolutionary power and experimental methods, explained Muyu. Lin Yen gave Muyu a thumbs up. Impressive. You are indeed my sister. Muyu blushed and did not say anything. The entrance here is very well hidden. The Holy Land will need some time to break through. Come, everyone, think of a countermeasure. Let's see how we can kill that Holy Lord. Mu Feng squatted down and washed his hands by the stream. During this period of time, Shang Hui and I will be responsible for little sister's safety until father arrives. Shang Yu said, "There's no need to think about how to defeat the Saint Lord of a sacred ground. You only need to think about how to survive." "Shang Yi, your words are really cruel." Mu Ningxuang looked at Shang Yu. "Mistress, it takes courage to face the truth, no matter how cruel it is," Shang Yu said. Lin Yan was about to retort when she felt someone poking her waist. She turned around and saw Mu Yu. "Do you want to rest in the room?" Mu Yu asked softly. Lin Yan was speechless. It sounded strange for Mu Yu to say that. Room? Lin Yan scanned her surroundings. There was a mountain in the distance, and there was a river nearby. There was no house. A second later, Lin Yan was dumbfounded. A manor that was even bigger than Cloud Manor appeared in front of them. "I just said that this is my home ground. I can use my mental strength to change the shape of this place. This is the real appearance of this place," said Mu Yu. Lin Yan was speechless. She couldn't understand. End of this chapter. Chapter 1530. Mu Yu, Lin Yan, and Mu Ningxuang were in the same room. Before long, Pei Qian and Pei Li ran in. Lin Yan wanted to get to the bottom of this, even though it seemed unbelievable. She wanted to ask about the high-tech technology that had transformed the prison, but Mu Yu's expression changed. "What's wrong?" When Mu Ningxuang saw that Mu Yu's expression wasn't right, she sat beside Mu Yu and asked softly. "My perfect test subject has begun to move." Mu Yu's expression was solemn. "What do you mean?" Lin Yan was puzzled. "On the surface, this is a prison used by the Hunters Guild to imprison criminals. In fact, this is the base camp of my laboratory. There are many mindless evolved clones that I created here. Once a powerful evolved being invades, these mindless evolved beings will take action," Mu Yu explained. "I understand. You mean that you also control Shang Yuan's experimental technology?" Mu Ningxuang replied softly. Mu Yu replied, "I mean, this place has been invaded, and the holy leader of the sacred land has come personally." Lin Yan was speechless. The holy leader had come too quickly. Could he spare her life? Mu Ningxuang's expression was solemn. She had thought that this place was very well hidden, and even the holy leader of the sacred land wouldn't be able to find it so quickly. She had indeed underestimated the holy leader. "It's okay." Pei Li stepped forward and glanced at Lin Yan. "I'll go meet the holy leader of the sacred land." Lin Yan hugged Pei Qian. Pei Li was at a loss for a moment in Lin Yan's arms. Then, he blushed shyly. "It's too dangerous. You can't go out." Lin Yan glanced at Pei Li softly. No matter how powerful this child was, even if he really had an immortal body, in her eyes, he was still just a child. Besides, if she really went, she would be sending herself to her death. Although you can't be killed, you can't be a match for the holy leader. Besides, there is a guardian whose mind has evolved to the peak. What will you do if you encounter that guardian? Pei Qian asked. Even if he couldn't be killed, he would only be asking for trouble. What's the situation now? Mu Ningxuang asked Mu Yu. Mu Yu fell silent for a moment before replying, "The situation isn't good. There are about 20 mindless evolved beings that I created. I think they have all been wiped out." "What's a mindless evolved being?" asked Lin Yan. An evolver without a mind can be understood as a battle tool that possesses the power of an evolver. They do not have any thoughts or emotions, and are only under my control. Mu Yu said. Lin Yan looked pensive. "Just like Bai?" Mu Yu shook her head. "It's completely different. One is a normal human who has been greatly enhanced and evolved through experiments, while the other is a pure fighting tool. Strictly speaking, they are not human. You can think of it as robot?" asked Lin Yan. "Alright, you can understand it that way, but this isn't the time to talk about it." "Aren't you afraid?" Mu Yu asked. Lin Yan shook her head. What's the point of being afraid? Are you afraid? I'm so scared. Mu Yu said. Lin Yen was speechless. However, this is my home ground. Even if the holy leader of the Holy Land personally comes, before Mu Yu could finish, Lin Yen blurted out excitedly, "You have a way to defeat him?" Hearing that, Mu Yu said, "I have a way to prevent them from finding us so quickly." End of chapter. Chapter 1531. Lin Yen stared at Mu Yu in silence. Mu Ningxuang said, "Little Yu, I understand what you mean. This is your territory, so we can die slower." Okay. Mu Yu nodded. Lin Yen was speechless. Mu Yu did have some trump cards, but those perfect evolvers were humans with flesh and blood, and she could not bring herself to send them to their deaths. However, the evolvers that were created from Wang Jingyang's unique genes could be used without any qualms. "Shang Yuan, what way do you have to restrain the Holy Lord?" Mu Ningxuang muttered worriedly. It had been so long, but Shang Yuan still hadn't appeared. Did he really not care about his daughter? After a while, Mu Yu called everyone to the main hall and told them about the situation. "Let's see if we can think of a way to kill the Holy Lord," suggested Mu Feng. "Impossible," replied Shang Hui. Mu Feng replied, "Then we'll kill the other guardian." Everyone was speechless. "Sister Yen, I have a suggestion." Xing Chen stepped forward. "Go ahead." Lin Yen nodded. "Since we can't beat him, let's stall for time," said Xing Chen. He believed that Brother Yu would definitely break through. Besides, he had already asked Ling Yu to inform Heaven Pardon. He believed that they would arrive soon. Stall for time? Lin Yen stared at Xing Chen speechlessly. "Haven't we been stalling for time?" "I will try my best, but I'm afraid I won't be able to hold on for long." Mu Yu whispered, "The Holy Lord has a peak evolved being with him. It will be too easy for him to track us down." "Sister, can you change the terrain here so that we can keep moving?" asked Lin Yen. Mu Yu glanced at Lin Yen in surprise. "I don't have that ability yet." Xiao Ji, who had been silent all this while, said, "Mu Yu, how long can you stall for?" "I'm afraid only a few hours at most. This is assuming that I sacrifice many mindless evolved beings. Otherwise, I won't be able to last more than 15 minutes. Can the Shang clan leader arrive in a few hours?" Xiao Ji asked Shang Yu. Shang Yu did not answer and fell into silence. It was obvious that even Shang Yu, the adopted son, did not know Shang Yuan's whereabouts, nor did he know when Shang Yuan would arrive. Perhaps it would be very fast, perhaps it would be very slow. He could not be sure how fast or slow he would arrive. "I'm afraid that father will need some time." Moreover, father only said that he knows a way to deal with the holy master of a holy land. "However, I'm not sure if it will be effective," said Shang Hui. "Understood." After Xiao Ji finished speaking, he fell into silence again. No one knew what he was thinking. "I didn't expect the mindless evolver cultivated by Muyang's cells to be so powerful." After a while, Muyu murmured. The last time she obtained Muyang's cells, she began to study them. Unfortunately, the time was too short, and the combat machines she created could only learn Muyang's second form. However, this was enough to slow down the Holy Lord and the Guardian. If she was given more time to study and cultivate, once she could adapt to Muyang's third form, once Muyang's third form was released, his power would increase by hundreds of times in a short period of time, but the price he had to pay was death. Humans would die, but she didn't care about those combat machines. She could keep creating them. However, she didn't have time to think about that now. The Holy Lord had stopped all the combat machines, and the Guardian was rushing over. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.